I hate that this don't have a countdown.
I know there was one in
Yep.
the past.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee, and this is Playing in Traffic. And you can't probably see me because my mic's in the way. So we're playing in traffic. We do this every Thursday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time. So please share this with all your friends. Anybody that loves automobiles or anything that you put gas in, we talk about it live. Tonight, we have my man Ray from Motormouth Radio. What's up, Ray?
Lewis, doing well, doing well. Like yourself, been very busy, working on jobs, working on all sorts of crazy stuff, and days of fly. Can't believe it's Thursday again, but
Yeah.
but here we are.
Yeah, they come quick. Man, it's all in September to be nine years,
Wow,
and they come quick.
that's crazy.
So I think I'm gonna have a big barbecue or something.
There's an idea.
Online barbecue. Everybody go steak on.
That's cool. That's cool.
So the topic tonight is paint, and I'm using Summit Racing paint. And I don't think a lot of people know that they sell paint, but they sell a lot of colors and primer, and they have their own line of paint. It's really nice.
Right.
So a couple weeks ago, I primed the whole bus. Took me 10 hours. I learned some stuff that I'm old and I can't climb the ladder like I used to. So I did the whole primer, and then this week I started painting the white stripes on it. And I made a rookie mistake where I painted my white stripe down my hood and down the grill onto the bumper. And I thought I'd be a little fancy, and I just went over a little bit further than I needed to. And then I taped it off, and then I figured I'd paint the orange over the top of, the rest of the hood. And not thinking that the paint is transparent and you can see the white.
Right.
So either I got to paint the whole bus white or go back and.
Yeah, I think in Paint World they call it translucent, where it shows through. And in fact, on this week's episode of Graveyard Cars, Will the painter was doing it's a B body, maybe a Roadrunner. And he was doing it in his green color.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed how hard that color is to paint, because the car was primed in gray, a light gray. And as he laid down that green, you just saw the gray coming right through. It was all splotchy. And now, even though it's coming out of a spray gun at high pressure, it still comes out. It was splotchy. It wasn't really continuous. And he said he'll have to put 7 or 8 coats on that car to get a continuous color that's blended and level on all surfaces.
Yeah, that's crazy. And the paint, the technology, I mean, if you see this, I should have took a picture of it, but the paint laying over top of that white, it's so pretty, man. It's like you can see the pearl, and it's really nice.
Well,
but it's just in the wrong spot.
I know a few guys who were painting back in the day and made a mistake like that, but liked it so much, they just went with that.
Mm-hmm.
They went with the mistake because they liked the way it looked well enough to say, hey, that's good.
Yeah. If I didn't think about it until today, I painted the fenders, and they came out a little darker than the swatch. You know what I mean? Or the stuff that I seen at Summit.
Right.
And I wasn't thinking that the primer's dark, so it made the paint darker.
Yeah.
Which I do like the color is coming out. I like the darker. It looks really good.
See, that's the other thing. You pick a color, you don't always know until you see it. I mean, they do spray out cards, and that's cool. But until you see a panel or the side of a car, and in your case, a bus, that color takes on a whole new look. Really does.
Yep.
I'm looking at my car painted, and I'm not a vinyl top fan, but I'm saying, man, my car would look good with a black vinyl top just to break up all that color.
Mm-hmm.
So you really don't know until it's laid down. Yeah.
So the primer, I did the primer last week, and it laid down really nice. Once I got my pressures right and the mixture of of the thinner and all that stuff, once I got that dialed in, man, it laid down beautiful.
Yeah.
It covered real nice. It's the epoxy primer, so it laid down real nice. And this paint, man, is so nice. it lays down real nice, and you just see it just level out as you're
And you
spraying.
picked a good week too because the humidity was lower. I mean, you obviously adjust for humidity, but I'm not a painter, but my painter friends tell me it's always easier to paint in lower humidity than it is in higher humidity.
Yeah.
So
So I'm really liking this paint. It's really laying down pretty.
excellent. What's the name of their? What do they call it?
I think. Wait, let me grab a can. Hold on.
Colors by Summit. Who knew? Learned a lot about Summit in the last couple of weeks. They got RC cars, they got toys, they got paint. There's a lot of things we learned about Summit in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah. So it's a single stage acrylic urethane paint.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, nice.
So this is the white. So I painted the hood stripe white.
Is that an
And
AMC Hornet on the cover on the can?
It's what?
Is that an AMC Hornet?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Wow.
So I painted this. It's pure white. It is so bright. When I parked the bus across the street, all I seen is grill white.
There's so many whites, and people don't get that. Now, my wife's Cruise is white, and it's white. But until you see snow on it and you swipe away some of the snow, the car turns almost yellow, and the snow is really white. So white, all whites aren't white. There's different shades of white.
Oh yeah, this is white. I mean, I couldn't believe it how bright it was.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yep. So I'm real happy with it. I mean, it's nice paint. So if anybody wants paint, go check it out. Single stage.
Yeah, single stage I think is easy to do, especially if you're a beginner, than it is the multi-stage. So that's good. Now I know paint. Ever since I've been dealing with it, I did paint my motorcycle years ago with a friend. And we used House of Colors then. And I remember every time I've done something with paint, whether I was going to use it or if I had to just buy it, every time it got more expensive.
Yeah.
So how does Summit stack up to the paint houses?
I want to say it's pretty reasonable.
Okay.
Let's see. The gallon of orange was 140 something.
Yeah.
Now I've seen some House of Color that was 300. Easy.
I painted my bike purple back in 98 or 9, and I think it was a couple $100 a quart from House of Colors at the time. And then I bought an Aztec Gold to do the flames in, and gold was really expensive.
Yeah. I'm gonna look it up right now because I have my shopping list.
And actually, red is very expensive because red has gold in it.
Yep.
And that's the gold stuff. Luckily, I only needed maybe not even a quart of that stuff. But
yeah, you can get tied up in some money real quick.
Oh man, can you ever? Yeah.
Then you don't think you need thinner and you need activator.
Right.
That stuff adds up pretty quick.
All the stuff that goes with it, yeah.
Yeah, tape.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, when they did my car, the first time I went through the shop, the guy says to me, listen, we'll put it through, and I'm going to give you a bill ahead of time just for supplies. Well, actually, he gave me 6 pages of supplies and said, I need all this stuff. He says, I'm giving it to you because if you want to go out and buy it yourself, go to Amazon or wherever. He says, and you'll get the best deal. He goes, I'm not going to make money off the supplies because, we're friends. He says, so you can do that, and I have no problem. And I'm flipping through 6 pages, and I said, are you kidding me? I handed it back to him. I said, look, you're in the business. You got suppliers. You do this every day. You're probably going to get a better price than I would anyway, and you know what all this stuff is.
Yeah.
You get it and tell me what I owe you, And I think in supplies, it was just supplies the first time around. And that was mainly the sandpaper and the, Bondo, a lot of sandpaper, masking paper, tape. I think it was about $2,000, and I had leftover. There was always leftover. But actually, he bought. It was kind of cool because when the car went back in for the second round a couple of years later, I said to him, he said he needed supplies again. And I said, I still have supplies from the first time. So the Bondo ended up going right in the trash. That didn't last. But the tape and all the sandpaper, what he didn't use, he bought back from me. He says, I'll buy from you what what we didn't use, because you're not going to use it, and we will. So
that's nice.
Yeah. So a lot of most people don't have that. I mean, I was very fortunate and lucky. I had a friend in the business who would do that for me. Most people are not that lucky, and they just look at the bottom line and say, "My God, how's it so expensive?" So
yeah, and then people don't account in the time too.
Yeah.
When a painter, painter has to do a lot of work.
Right.
So the gallon of paint is $109.99.
That's very reasonable for a gallon. Jeez.
Yeah, for single stage, and the primer was the epoxy primer was $64.
Uh-huh.
Now listen to this: the thinner was $79, more than the primer.
Yeah. Go figure.
But they have it all. They even got sandpaper.
Right. What kind of a gun are you using?
I'm using
your weapon of choice.
I'm using one from Home Depot. What is their brand?
I don't know. Is it HVLP gun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I got a couple of them though. I got some Harbor Freight ones, and I have
right.
I have like 4 or 5. And I've just been playing around with each one and seeing what shoots better.
Okay.
So far my one from Home Depot is shooting pretty good.
Nice.
Starts with an H. What did they sell?
First thing I think of is DeVilbiss. That's one of the.
No, it's their brand.
Okay.
The brand that they sell, like they sell Husky. Is it Husky?
Oh, so I didn't know Harbor Freight sold paint guns.
Oh yeah, Harbor Freight sells a full line of paint stuff. They even have some high end paint guns they're like $150, $200, but I guess they're supposed to be really nice, from what I'm hearing.
Okay.
But what I should have did, I went to the paint store the other day to get some sandpaper. And he goes, "Oh, you're painting that bus. You should have bought I guess it's called a pressure painter. It's like a pressure pot. You pour 2 gallons of paint in it and mix everything up and have 2 gallons and shoot. It has hoses that go to the gun. And you just go crazy. I would have done that. It would have cost me about $150, but I was already in it.
Yeah.
Because it's taking me, when I primed it, it took me a half hour to go mix more primer and go out, back and forth. So
right.
That pot, man, is pretty nice. It holds 2 gallons of paint.
That is a good idea.
Yeah, I wish I would have seen it earlier, but it is what it is now.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna take my time painting it because I almost killed myself priming it.
Yeah, right.
Man, I was hurting, boy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we take a lot of stuff for granted these days.
All right, we'll let the fellas in.
Let him in.
We got No Class. We got Mr. Jim.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Jim.
Toolbox, how are you?
Yeah, we got a nice toolbox.
Look at that.
Red, white, and black.
So I bought one of those kits that you convert your paint gun with bags. You put bags in your cup. It's like a cup system. So you put bags in, then the cup has the actual measurements. And you put the little sleeve in there, and then you pour the paint in the sleeve.
Oh, okay.
And then the lid has a screen built in. And you put a cap on it, turn it upside down, or put your gun on, turn it upside down, and you're ready to go.
It
saves so much time cleaning. Oh,
I was gonna say, it sounds like a real clean way to go.
Yeah, because you don't have to clean your cup. You just take the insert out and throw it away.
Right.
Yep.
Nice.
and you don't have to clean out the filter because the filter is in the lid.
Okay.
So it's pretty slick.
Nice.
I guess 3M makes it, and somebody copied it and sold it at Harbor Freight.
Yeah, 3M makes everything, man.
Yeah. So you got to buy these little adapters to put on your gun,
Oh, yeah.
and this holds that cap. It's pretty slick.
Nice.
Saves a lot of time.
Yeah, that's worth it.
Yep.
Yeah, cleanup is, and that's where a lot of guys, I've seen a lot of guys fail. You know, they don't clean up right, and then the equipment goes to crap.
Oh yeah.
They buy new stuff, and yeah.
That's one reason I hate the airbrush, because you gotta clean.
Right.
I mean, it takes you. I hate it. And every time you change colors, you gotta clean the gun out. You gotta change the color. So
exactly.
When somebody asks me to airbrush something, I give them a stupid price so they won't use me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. $5,000.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, I hate doing it, man. I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. Yeah, the airbrush, especially you got the open cup. I mean, it's always it's an accident waiting to happen.
Oh yeah, I've done pictures before, and you're like almost done. You're like, oh well, maybe it needs just a little bit, and the gun blows up.
That last touch is always the problem, right?
Yep. So I just stay away from it. I call somebody else and let them airbrush it.
Yeah.
Do some trading. You know what I mean?
Right.
One of my good friends, he was an excellent airbrush artist, man. He passed away, to sleep. He was 20, I want to say he was 28.
Oh God, really? Wow.
Yeah, went to sleep, never woke up.
Oh man.
Yep.
Wow.
He was an excellent airbrush artist. When I had my store, I had a clothes store, and he used to airbrush stuff for me in the clothes store.
Yeah.
I miss him.
Yeah. I'm looking for a pinstriper now. I got a couple leads at a cruise night the other night. A couple local people. One guy's supposed to be very reasonable.
Yeah.
So I got to talk to this guy.
Have Keith run out there. He'll stripe you up.
Yeah. We'll have to bring him up here when the humidity is low right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna call him and see if he can do my bus. I think I'm gonna do some stuff on the bus. I've always loved the pinstripe, and I want to have some flavor of automobile on the bus. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think I'm gonna call him.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Where's Mr. Brian at? He must be taking a nap.
We got a phone call. Yeah, I got a Brian box today, man. It's like Christmas when this stuff comes. I love it.
Oh yeah, what'd you get?
Because I had a list of stuff here that I think I gave him back in the winter time. We were talking about a lot of this stuff, and now I finally got a bunch of. So I forgot about some of this stuff.
Hey, Paul, what's going on?
How's everyone tonight?
Oh, it's all good.
Where you go? Oh, there it is.
Fan off so I can hear a little better. So the Summit paint, I do like it.
Yeah, I'm really liking it. I mean, it lays down real nice. It covers nice.
From what I understand, it's basically single stage catalyzed paint of the late 70s and early 80s. It's kind of what I grew up with as a kid. And then the industry evolved, but Summit's bringing back basic paint.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. I think it's water based too.
See, that part I didn't know.
Well, if you're using solvent, it's not.
Oh, that's.
See, I didn't.
Water based, not solvent based.
Yeah, you're putting a solvent in it.
No, I put Wait a minute. Let me see here. I put activator in it, but I got some water based from Tammy as well that I had to put activator in. So I think it's. I don't see it on here, but let me see. I want to say it's water based.
See, I believe that it was basically the same thing as what like DuPont Centauri was in the 70s and 80s.
Centauri, that was a good paint. Yeah.
That's the way I understood that what they sell at Summit under the Summit brand was basically the same chemistry as DuPont Centauri.
Now that I remember when Centauri was out, that's when Glycerin came out too, right around the same time.
I think glass, yes.
And then there was another one too, because I can't think of the name of the other one.
Yeah, I don't see it here. You're probably right.
Out before that, but through that time.
You're probably right, but I know that they're getting rid of a lot of paint that's not water based. They're pushing it real hard. The EPA.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't see it anymore.
It's very possible this paint is 40-year-old leftover supply that they've put out on the market.
Can you imagine?
Well, at least then you're still getting good paint.
Right. I'll tell you what, it lays down, man. I'm not a good painter, and it's laying down like I'm a good painter. I'm like, oh man, look at this.
Yeah, well, that's even better.
As far as the paint guns go, from what I understand, there's other people that have not used it. I have not used it, but apparently the Harbor Freight Black Widow spray gun, which is the one that's like $220 or $250 from Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
That is basically a SATA. That all the parts in that gun are serviceable with SATA parts.
Oh, really?
The SATA gun that's equivalent to it's like $800.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what I hear.
Kind of what I understand is the Harbor Freight Black Widow gun is a duplicate of the SATA gun.
Yeah, I can see that because everybody I've seen online talking about it says it's a really nice gun.
I don't do enough painting anymore to justify it.
Yeah.
I thought you did a lot of painting, Paul.
I end up getting stuck doing a lot of painting, and every time I do, I ain't doing no more.
That's like me getting stuck working on trucks. Like, I don't want to do it, but
Yep.
Money is money, so you do what you got to do.
exactly.
So it's acrylic urethane.
Okay.
Would that be water based? I'm not sure.
I think we'd have to say specifically water-based.
Oh, hold on, is it acrylic or is it urethane?
Acrylic urethane, both.
Okay. I don't believe that you can have a urethane water-based because urethane is petroleum.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's not water based at all.
Okay. Learn something new every day. Now I know Orco, where Tammy's at, they're switching over to water based.
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
It's a law.
So I
You
wonder.
gotta have a certain time, and you'll have to have water base.
Yeah.
It's
Well, whatever this stuff is, it shoots pretty nice. I'll tell you that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's already pre-mixed and everything, right? You just pour it in the gun and shoot.
No, I have to add the activator and thinner.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was the one in
O'Reilly.
O'Reilly or AutoZone that was you just poured it in and shoot it.
Yeah, it's paint. It's called Paint Shop. That's what I did my bike with.
Yeah.
Yep. Paul, your mic is crunching.
Yeah, you're crunching again.
Like
That's
you're,
right.
like you're eating tater chips.
That's crazy. It's got to be a connection on the line there. We've got some big mice.
That's what it sounds like. Some mice eating.
Yeah.
Well, in Texas, everything's big.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Including my swelled head. There you go.
Yep, there's something better. The top coat. Hey Lee, how's it going? We got Lee in the house.
Oh, Lee Morgan.
Gil.
We haven't talked to him in a long time.
Yeah, you want to jump in, Lee? Give me a thumbs up. So my whole garage smells like paint right now because I was shooting a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I bet.
So if I fall over, you know what happened. I got high.
It's kind of funny. I told you I had this kitchen table made a couple weeks ago by a cabinet maker, and it's a 52-inch square, big thing. So he brings the base in and brings the top in, screws together, but he just stained it. I mean, he probably stained it a couple days before. So my house smelled like stain for 2 days,
Oh yeah.
and I'm sure he let it sit for a while to dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd gotten these cabinet, not bookshelves, but they're cases for my Hot Wheels to go in. And man, when I open those, it's made out of wood. But man, when I opened the box up, dude, I was like, I might have to let this thing sit outside for a couple days because the whatever was treated on the wood or whatever was just like crazy. I can't get over the smell.
Yeah.
It seems like the more expensive stuff smells the longest.
Yeah, that's like when you have I had a can of old school carburetor cleaner or gum cutter where the bottom rusted out and leaked.
Oh, yeah.
And I get the phone call. Something blew up in the garage because it stinks the whole house up.
Yeah.
You kind of walk around the garage like, okay, we're getting strong. It's getting stronger.
Right.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Keeping that old, it was the good stuff because it had the skull and crossbone on the cans,
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you guys how white this white is, man. It's like super white.
Brian, you got me bouncing off the walls tonight.
Why?
I got my Brian box. I was telling Lewis I forgot about some of this stuff. It's like Christmas, dude. This is great.
Dude, I know there's more stuff, and actually,
only a few things.
It was funny because I walked out. I wanted to send you up your the crimping tool for your AC line.
Oh, right. That's right.
We talked about it, and it was funny. And I was like, I know Ray. I'm just going to send it to Ray, and Ray can use it when. I mean, it's like I've only used it once. I had one other guy use it.
Right.
I mean, it's one of those things that's nice,
Yeah.
I had to admit, I'm kind of spoiled.
Yeah.
As in, of course, it's a write-off to say, but I'll just buy the tool. If I use it once.
Right.
I mean, I got plenty of buddies I can loan it to,
And out of everything, that is the one thing I do need the most. That is pretty white.
It is.
I mean, it is white.
It's hard to tell without something to compare it to. Get some snow. Go out and get some snow.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah.
What? So, are you going to paint the letters orange or whatever?
I think I am. I think I'm gonna I'm gonna do it by hand. Yeah.
So what else are you going to have white on the bus?
The center of the hood and down the grill onto the bumper would be white, like a big white stripe. And then the top part of the bus is white.
Yeah.
So I have it going up the windshield, like curving a little bit, and then going up to the roof. So hopefully it looks good.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't like it, all you got if you don't like it, all you gotta do is scuff it and repaint it, right? I mean,
Well-
it's such a small thing to paint.
Yeah, right. Well, luckily I did the hood, and when I put the white stripe on, I overflowed where my line's going.
Uh-huh.
So then when I taped it off and painted the orange, the white's coming through the orange because I wasn't thinking that it was transparent. So
Yeah, that's one of those things about like the Porsche Red. It has a white underneath of it, and you got to be careful with that. White will change some of those colors.
yeah. So I'm gonna scuff it up tomorrow, and then Sunday probably redo it.
Yeah, that white.
I had to call tech support, Arco. He was like, "Yeah, you gotta scuff it and prime it and then shoot it again." Luckily, it was just the hood and it's just the fenders, the side part. So I'm good.
Yeah, I think we got a question about using solar panels, which that's what you're going also, right?
Yes. Oh, let me show you. All right, so can you see the white under the paint?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shows pretty good. Arco just said, "Tell people it's a custom job."
That's your what's his name? Gene Winfield fade, right? That's the slide. I mean, the fade of the color.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had the first time I had my Mustang painted. It's a dark metallic blue, and the guy, I dropped off all the material, and he painted it, and I went and I said, "That's not the right color." And he goes, "That's the color you gave me." And I said, "Man, that's not the right color." And I had another hood that was painted that color. And I took dragged the hood over to that shop, and we laid it right next to the car. And he's like, "Man, I can't believe I don't understand why the paint doesn't match. The paint didn't match. He must have mixed something wrong, this and that." And the end of the story was I talked to somebody, and the primer was not gray. He used gray primer, and I had the green primer. That's from the factory.
Oh yeah.
And with the blue, how it bled through, or coated it. That's what changed. That was the color difference.
Yep.
So
the color underneath makes a significant difference. True candy paint is translucent, and it's based on what color is underneath. So you can have a candy apple blue or a candy apple red, and you can go over white, you can go over gold, you can go over silver, or you can go over any variation of that, and it'll change the way that blue looks or that red looks. So two candy apple reds that are true candy apple red will never be the same.
Yeah,
because you can't get that underneath color the same as the translucent color.
Yeah, I'm learning. All right, who had a question about solar?
Warder Williams over here. He said he can use solar panels on the roof of your bus. In the comments over here, and he will.
Wait a minute, I don't see it. Said I can or can't?
No, can you use solar panels?
Yes, I'm going with 400 watt house solar panels, and I'm going to try to put many as I can put on the roof. The more, the better, because I'm trying to go off grid for at least a month and a half. And if I have a big battery bank and a big solar array, I should be good.
Or a really long extension cord.
Yeah, long extension cord.
But well, you could do, Lewis. You could get you can get about half a dozen gerbils and the little wheels, and have them all underneath the bus, just rolling away.
All right,
building that power.
Put the little piece of cheese in front of them. Let's see. Yeah, I'm really liking this color too. With the with the dark primer under it, made it a little darker on the paint. It looks good, man. I like it.
That's looking. I mean, it's hard to tell, from the phone and on a camera, but that's getting closer to the color of my car, which I thought it was going to be brighter orange.
Well, where the white is under it is bright.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
You just got to add that Chicago Bears blue on it.
Oh, whoa.
All right, Coach. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah. Who's that guy? I'm going to kick him off.
Well, we had a yeah.
All right, fellas. I think I'm going to call it an early night tonight. I'm pretty tired from the last few days.
Did you guys cool down any out there, Paul?
No, it is not cooled down. It was triple digits again today. It's going to be triple digits tomorrow. I think it's 88 right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
The sun just went down, so it might go down to 80 at the low.
Yeah, we're 73 degrees here. It's actually feel a little chilly.
And we're 70 today.
Yeah.
We were overcast. It was nice the last 2 days. Last 3 days have been really nice. People are finally getting back to being normal because that heat drives everybody crazy.
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
Yeah, we're
it
at
does.
89.
Wow. Yeah. You're at 89?
Yeah.
Man, you guys got the heat. We've been nice. Since it was nice, I decided to go do the job on that tow truck yesterday, and it's outside. I said, okay, but it's nice. Nice out. And the sun got pretty hot, but the good thing was like half the job was done underneath. But I found out by laying on the creeper and skirting under the side under the diamond plate floorboard, my stomach just cleared the floorboard, on the creeper. And then once I get under there, there's all sorts of room because it's cavernous. But I was hanging out under the damn truck. I just stayed there for a while. I got in the shade.
yeah.
Hate that work.
It's 101 here currently.
Hey!
Wow.
Wow.
I'll be right
Listen,
back.
And
Arizona
that's it cooling off.
Now, what was it? I saw in the paper, Isaac, Arizona had what? It was it 10? How many days of over 110? I forget. It was a pretty big number.
Geez. Yeah. It was like several weeks.
It was ridiculous.
See, the thing is like 110, 112, depending on where you're at. If it's Phoenix, you figure 115 on average. That's normal. But what's not normal is for it to last consecutively for like 3 or 4 weeks, if not longer. And then the other problem is at night it wasn't cooling down.
Right. Oh,
the other day it was like the other day I think it hit 109, but then by the evening it started cooling down really fast.
Right.
But
you guys haven't gotten your rain yet. You're supposed to be in the rain season, right?
Yeah, it's hit and miss. So let's see. On Monday we had a decent storm, and then the week before that, so last week, it was kind of off and on. It would build up and then it would peter out, and that's kind of miserable when it doesn't do anything, because then you've got the dew point raises, the humidity raises, but there's nothing going on to cool it down. We had one storm that came in, and the way it should be, we had one storm come in, and it came in hard and quick, and you all of a sudden you felt like a cool breeze. Now, mind you, it probably dropped to like 80 degrees, then 75 degrees, but you're talking about going from 110 to 80 degrees like in the blink of an eye, and you're almost wanting to put a jacket on because it's such a wide gap. But that's how the storms should be on average. But this summer they haven't really done too much yet, so we've been pretty dry.
Yeah, I think the Potomac here is 10 feet lower than normal or something like that. 12 feet.
Now's your time to row across it. Get that
Sheesh.
picture.
So, but
Hat on.
we're pretty bad with that. So
We've been pretty good here with the rain. I mean, we've been. Well, it's always raining here, though. I can't. I can't judge it.
yeah.
So, Ray, to answer your question, from Phoenix, they had 31 consecutive days of over 110 degrees.
31. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And see, that's the thing. I mean, you might get a week here and there where you're hitting 110, 115, and that's normal, but it's like a week or, and sometimes it's spaced out.
Yeah.
So, but when you have it just consecutive, it really puts a lot of weight on the AC systems for your house, the whole electric grid, and it's just miserable.
Yeah.
Just don't charge your electric car, Coach.
Right.
Oh, that's not a problem for me.
What is the nighttime low out there?
It's been like in the 80s. I can tell you on the weather app what it's expected to be. Overnight it's supposed to be 78, but then going into the weekend it's supposed to be overnight low of between 80 to 82, 83 degrees.
Wow.
Okay. Same here.
Yeah, the only difference I think between us and you guys, Paul, is you guys have way more humidity, so you have it more miserable.
I don't know if we have it more miserable or not, but we have it miserable. I won't say mine is worse than anyone else's, but it's pretty bad.
I mean, the thing is, like, one of the
the
things.
humidity from the mid-Atlantic. I mean, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, it's humid, it's nasty, it's hazy, it's just thick, and it's smog, and it's like L.A. or something. But here it's different. It's humid here, and there's no water around you. Where's the humidity coming from?
Yeah. See, and not to take anything away from you guys being in the humidity. I mean, I've been to South Carolina, to Georgia. I've been up to Indiana and Illinois in the summer, and the humidity is definitely miserable. But the one thing I hate is when everybody says, well, yeah, but Arizona's a dry heat. My response is, so's an oven. Go open it and climb in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, not to take away from you guys dealing with the humidity, but I'm like, miserable is miserable. Like, don't try to make my misery, I just don't talk about it or focus on it. But you guys dealing with the humidity, it's miserable. Us dealing with the dry heat, because I'll tell you what, you get in the shade and you get a breeze and it feels like an oven door blast. When you open the oven door, it just dries your skin. It's just,
Now that part I know, because I've gone outside at like 2:00 in the morning to smoke, and I'm standing on the back step, and a breeze will come out of the east, southeast, and it is just this hot, almost like the devil himself is breathing on you or something.
Yeah.
It's just this blast of hot air.
Yeah, it's hot is miserable, and I always say, I mean, mind you, you guys have winter worse, but I always say I like, at least with winter you can layer on clothes and keep putting clothes on. In the summer you can only take so much off, and once you're naked you can't take nothing else off, and it's still hot. It's still miserable.
Well, that's what they made AC for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, man has had fire for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, so I can keep burning wood and keep building fires and stay warm. I cannot cool off enough when it gets like this.
Yeah.
But I also like the heat. I like it. with the sunlight itself, the direct sunlight.
Yeah, that's hard.
That'll take me out.
Yeah, you know what? You gotta. I know a friend of mine did this years ago. He kind of flipped his schedule, and he started working at night. You know, he was in a shop, and he said, "I got more work done because I didn't have people dropping in on me, and it was comfortable. Obviously, you need light for everything. You don't have daylight." But he said he was really, really. I think he might have been sun sensitive,
Yeah.
you know, and he just flipped his hours.
We had I want to say it was back in 2016, the week of Father's Day, we hit 120 here, and at that time I was doing painting. I was painting houses, and that couple of weeks we had an apartment complex we were painting. And what I would do, and if I got to work in the heat, I'll take a bandana and I'll wet it. I'll keep a bucket with me of water, and I'll dunk it and drape it over my head and around, let it hang over my neck. It was so hot that summer or that week. I dunked that thing, put it on my head, and turned to go do, back to scraping a wall or prepping, and it was dry within 2 steps.
Wow.
Now, when it's between 105 and 110, that thing will stay damp for a good half hour, 45 minutes maybe. But I mean, 2 steps and that thing was dry.
Crazy.
That was horrid. It was horrible.
All right, fellas, I'm gonna call it a night. See you next
All right,
week.
Paul.
All right, Paul, take
All
it
right,
easy.
Paul, have a good week.
Take care, Paul.
Hey,
Be
cut
safe.
back on those sodas, man. You're gonna be up all night.
So Keith asked a question in the chat. Yes, Keith, I spray foamed the inside, but let me tell you, I bought a kit and it was supposed to cover 600 square feet, and it did half of that, and so I ran out before I got to the front.
Oh wow.
So I'm doing a major video on this company because they suck.
Join the ranks of Dina Parisi.
Man.
She's always doing videos about companies.
Oh man, I'm going in as soon as I get time to sit down and really blast them.
Did you spray under the bus or inside the bus?
No, inside. The ceilings, the walls, the floor. I put a 2-inch foam board insulation and then 3/4 inch plywood. So the floor is going to be pretty warm, and then 1.5 inch spray foam everywhere else. But it didn't cover nice. It was terrible, and I ran out. So I got to buy another kit, which is probably another $400. The first kit was $1,000, and I ran out. So,
you know what? They have a spray, and I wished I thought about it before you did all that, at least for you to look into. But it's called. They do it for hot rods and stuff, but it's called Lizard Skin.
Oh yeah,
they make it out here at Lake Havasu area. I've never, to be honest with you, I've never used it. But like when we strip down the Chevelle, I'm thinking about spraying the roof, the inside, and the floor of the Chevelle with the Lizard Skin.
That product, little is known, but a lot of people don't know. But that product was named after a guy from Arizona who's a house painter.
Oh really?
No, but I was saying, wow, yeah, I can see that because you get lizard skin, when it's so freaking hot.
Well,
I
looked into it, but it would be too expensive to do the whole bus.
Yeah, that bus is anything times like 100.
Yeah,
that's a huge project.
Yeah, you don't realize until you start spraying on it. I'm like, man, I need a bigger spray gun.
Absolutely.
My mom texted me. She said that I guess down here it was 44 consecutive days of 110, and I think it was either Monday or I think it was last Friday. she had hail in her area.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I think when I'm out that way, I'm gonna go in the winter time, and then in the summertime bounce back over this way.
Yeah, that's what I was when we had talked about that, that's what I was going to tell you is you want to come out in the winter. If nothing else, if you were to stay a summer out here, the biggest thing I can recommend is come out in January, February and start acclimating. Cuz I met some people that were from San Diego we happened to be in San Diego on vacation, and they were on the verge of moving out here in July, and I was like, is there any way you can postpone? I'm like, you do not want to come from the beach weather, 60 something degrees in the morning and in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
You don't want to come out here in the middle of the summer out here. But for a lot of people that have come out here or moved out here and come like at least February, March at the latest, and acclimate into the summer, it's still a rough summer, but they acclimate better. Because I mean, we'll see March, April, we'll see 80 degrees easy.
Wow.
And depending on if we have a warm winter or a wonky winter, we can see 80 degrees in February.
Wow.
Well, that's like Daytona. I mean, it could be the same thing. I mean, I've been to the Daytona 500 in February, and it's 78 degrees or whatever.
T-shirt weather.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget. It was middle of winter. It was for the Daytona 500. It was actually for the truck race. Me and my brother-in-law left here, and this is in February now, and I didn't take anything. I jumped on a plane wearing shorts and a T-shirt. I leave Baltimore National Airport when it's like 27 degrees here. Jump on a plane. We get down there to Daytona, get to the track, and it was the coldest night in history at the track. And it was 14 degrees in the grandstand, and we're sitting on concrete.
Nice.
Dude, that was like the worst thing. We're sitting there, and everybody you couldn't buy anything because the Walmart across the street, the store, anything that blanket, shirt, jacket, it was gone. And you got these two guys sitting there wearing T-shirts, and they're like looking at you like, "Are you cold?" Hell, you couldn't even feel anything, dude. You were like, we watched. I don't know how much. We didn't even stay. I mean, we were like, we gotta get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And we were like ice cubes walking out of there. The coldest night was like 18 degrees, I think, is what it was.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I want to say it was February. I want to say it was 2011. It might have been 2010. We hit 19 degrees or something like that. And that day was miserable. I had not checked my coolant in my truck, in my Blazer, and the mix was off and it was low. And I'm driving to work, and every couple miles, maybe 3 miles, I'd have to pull over and let it cool off because it was overheating, because everything was solid. It was ice.
Wow.
It iced up. And of course, when I call my boss and I'm like, "Hey, I'm running late, I'm overheating," he's like, "It's 19 degrees outside. Give me another story." I'm like, "You idiot. It's like, when I get there, I'll show you. I'll explain it to you." And what I had to do was, because at that time I was doing deliveries, I pulled in, I backed the truck in facing the south where the sun could get it, popped the hood and left it open where the sun could just shine on it. And I said, "If you want to go out there and grab hoses, you'll see it's like slushy." I'm like, "It's not nothing. I hope I didn't damage my water pump." I'm like, "I'm here. and I had to load up as quick as possible and hit the road.
Good thing you didn't have to use your own vehicle for deliveries.
Oh God, yeah.
That's
Yeah, the
funny.
heat kills a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
And honestly, when I'd pull over, as it would start to overheat, when I'd pull over, it would take, I want to say maybe 10 minutes, and it would drop everything back down, and I could fire it up and go another couple miles and then pull over. But
Surprised you didn't crack the block or something like that.
yeah, thank God. That's in my S10 Blazer. I still drive it to this day, and it's got I want to say 300,000 miles on that motor.
Oh, God bless it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just seasoned that block. That's all.
Yeah.
I had a F-150 that had a 6-cylinder in it, and I had to run up to Elkridge to where one of the warehouses was to pick up an order, for a stock order. And I'm coming down the Beltway, coming down 95, and the front of the water pump blows out, and coolant goes all over the place. And so I'm sitting there, and it's getting late, and I only have about, I don't know, $3,000-$4,000 worth of stock in the back of the pickup truck, and called a couple places, for tow, and it's like, well, we're really busy. We'll get there. Just leave it. We'll pick it up. I was like, I can't leave the truck here, and so I finally got to the point. I said, oh, well, started it up, drove it on home, and got home, unloaded the stuff, loaded the tool truck. By that time, it's like going to bed at 3, waking up at, 5 to get started, and
Yeah.
the truck sat out there for, I don't know, 2 weeks. And I said, well, I guess I'll put a water pump on and see how bad it was. Put a water pump on it. That thing fired up and never missed a lick. I drove that thing for another year and a half.
Wow, nice.
It was funny. I figured I'd, crack the head or something or do, because.
Sure.
And it was funny because, I don't know, I guess it was a year, maybe a little longer. I'm sitting at the light and all of a sudden the truck goes, and I was like, oh, this ain't good. Pulled in a driveway and a little stream of coolant comes running out of the tailpipe. And I'm like, oh, that was done. Pulled the head off of it, and it cracked. That head was cracked all the way across, in between all the valves, all the way straight down.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and put another head on it, and ended up selling the truck. I wish I kept. That was a great truck.
Yeah.
Nothing too special. Just a straight 6. So
Yeah.
But she took everything. I mean, she was a good little truck.
Oh yeah. There's definitely some cars out there that have, and from any manufacturer, there's key motors that just they'll go and go and go. You can pick a manufacturer you don't like and bag on pretty much every motor or every this and that, and there's just that one motor that just it's bulletproof.
Yeah.
I had a Toyota Corolla, 4-door. Somebody gave it to me, man. It was like I forget how I got it, but it was beat up. One window went down. Everything was just rough, right? And so I was just driving it back and forth to work. And so my son was like, man, this car is bad, Dad. You need to get rid of it. I was like, I'm going to drive and see how long I can drive with no water in it. Man, I drove that thing for about 3 weeks with no water in it. It wouldn't die.
This is back in like the early 80s. I had some friends who were kind of sketchy. Always doing weird things with cars. And somewhere along the line, one of them had got a hold of an old, I think it was a Toyota, and they wanted to blow it up. So they drained the water and probably the oil too, and put a brick on the gas pedal and just let this thing run in a little field next to the house at 3,000 RPM. That damn thing ran for hours before it finally let go. It was like with no fluids. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
My sister had a Geo Prism, which is basically the Toyota Corolla, and that thing, it ran and ran. And it was the same thing. It was given to her, and she just ran it. I mean, some of the stuff she did, I couldn't believe. I was like, how? Like, don't ever own a car again. Like, what are you doing? And I don't need work, so don't stop. Just stop. And but she'd come pulling up to the house, and you knew she was coming up. We called it the Messerschmitt because it sounded like a World War II prop plane pulling up.
Wow.
But it just kept running and running. I told her, I said, if you ever get a new car or a newer car, I said, get you another Toyota. I said, that's what you need to do, because this thing is just, and I mean, when she got it, it was just horrible to begin with. Yeah. It was abused. So
yeah, it's always that one.
All right, guys, time for me to bail.
All right, Jim.
All right, Jim. Have a good week.
See you, Jim.
Take care, guys.
Take care, Jim.
So the car you really love is the one that breaks down. The car you hate drives and runs forever.
Yeah.
It's usually how it works.
Did you call that guy, Ray?
Which guy, Brian?
The guy on the Pontiac.
Oh, no. I said I was going to get a hold of him. I came home. I decided to go out and work on the Mustang this afternoon, and I just hit the wall. I'm sitting there. We did what we had to do. I'll tell you that story. I'll get into that. And then Rick started playing around that with his exhaust flange on the donut again, and so he had it, and I'm watching him and going back and forth to the toolbox to try every wrench in the world to try and find one to fit. And I said, maybe it's metric. I was literally sitting there just like nodding out, like full asleep. I said, dude, I got to get home and take a nap. I need a nap. So I never called Dougie, but I will. He's on my list because that car is nice. It's a 67 Firebird in paint. He says it's got a 428 in it, which is obviously not the original engine, and a 4-speed, and he's asking like $20,000.
Wow.
I'm like, that's a great deal if that car is there, and it looks like it's all there.
It looked clean. Yeah, like I told you, a buddy of mine had one in high school, 67, had a 389, tri-power, 4-speed. But the one of the most unique pieces of that car was it had the optional fold-down rear seat.
Yeah, some Camaros had that too.
And so basically, I think when he looked it up, it was something like 214 hardtops had that, because that was more of a convertible thing, or it was a more pronounced or more prone to have an option in a convertible, the fold down seat.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So, but the hardtop, so that was kind of weird looking into that car, seeing only 2 seats.
Yeah.
And like I said, the rear seat folded down.
Even Mike's Mustang has a fold down rear seat, which is pretty cool.
And his convertible, or no, his fastback.
Yeah.
And yeah, my fastback's got a fold down seat too.
That's pretty cool. Cool.
That was my liquor store.
This Mustang today, he got a tune up. He put the plugs in, so I put the points in, gapped them at 25 thousandths. Condenser cap, put new wires on it. As I was standing there, the Amazon guy comes and brings the wires. Put those on. So I put the dwell meter on it, and the dwell meter's reading like 12. I was like, Rick, this car shouldn't run with 12 degrees of dwell. I don't know why. And I actually brought 2 meters. I brought my Snap-on dwell meter that I always double check because sometimes they get wonky. And so I brought my old Sun the long one, the one that was the one that I got for Christmas in 1979 or 78. That's the timing light and the tack dwell. So I brought that. That one's always reliable, and it was showing me 12. The Snap-on told me 20, and the sun told me 12. I'm like, that's not right. I said the car shouldn't run with 12 degrees of dwell, and it was running well. So I said, okay. He goes, what are you gonna do? I said, well, I got to close the points. When you close the points, the dwell increases. When you open the points, it's inverse. So just on a whim, I increased the gap, and the dwell went up to 20. I'm like, wait a minute. When you close the gap, the dwell goes up. I opened the gap, and the dwell went up. So I opened it up even more to like 32, and the dwell finally went up to like 30. It's supposed to be 39. I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. But I did take my vacuum pump, and I put it on the distributor, and I pumped the vacuum advance. It actuated with the vacuum, but it wouldn't hold. It kept releasing. I said, okay, you got a bad vacuum advance. So we got to get one of those. So he said he was thinking about doing a Pertronix conversion. And I said, okay, well, if we do an under cap conversion, we're still stuck with a vacuum advance that doesn't work. So you got to get one of those. So he may just get the whole distributor. I said, all right, whatever you want to do. So I set the timing at 12. Yeah, it's 12 before. That was right. The car runs good. It was just it's just one of those wonky things. It's just you scratch your head and say, how is it doing what it's doing? I don't know how. But
mechanical things it's a mystery.
I had the same problem with the Buick at the shop. Mike's Buick 350 Skylark. I think I had the dwell. I have a picture of it too. I had the dwell at like some stupid low number, like 11 or 12, and it wouldn't run. When I increased the dwell, the car just wouldn't run. It ran like crap. I had to have it at like 11 or 12. I said, this doesn't make sense. But it happened to that car too. You know what I did do? Later on I did swap the points out, and then I was able to adjust the dwell right, which still doesn't make sense because it's just a mechanical contact.
Yeah.
So I said, listen, you want to do the Pertronix thing? I'll put the distributor in for you, no problem.
It's that damn Chinese stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
About it.
So listen, before we get off, before I forget, which I probably will, it's a year tomorrow. We lost John.
Oh, wow.
We've gone a year already. So,
and man, I can't believe that. I was just thinking about him.
Yeah, hard to believe. But a year tomorrow.
I think about him every Thursday or every time I set up the show, because when I go into my graphics and stuff, he's there. He's done a lot of stuff. Yeah, and I can't get rid of him. You know what I mean?
I know. I
gotta, I gotta keep it. And
so I got phone numbers in my phone of guys that passed, and I don't delete them.
Yeah,
it's like I don't feel right. It's like sacrilege.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I play a clip of John every week on my show when I'm coming back in. It's just a quick little thing that he made. Brian was too self-conscious to make one. John did. See, so John gets played. One day Brian will make one. He'll get played too. But
Ray, do you keep in touch with his wife at all?
I had written to her and sent her messages a couple times. I sent her cards and she never replied to any of it.
Yeah.
So I figured maybe she just doesn't want to be bothered. I'm not going to force it on her,
Yeah.
It was funny because the last time I talked to John, and he was saying to me, we were wrapping up the call, and he said, "You got my wife's phone number?" I was like, "John, if I had your wife's phone number, you'd be asking me, what the hell am I doing with your wife's phone number?" So he starts laughing. So he says, "Here, take it." He rattles off a number. He goes, you need to get in touch with her, and you're keeping, she may need help with stuff. I said, "John, whatever she needs, I'm here. And there's other guys that are here. We'll do it." Yeah. So we get off the phone, and I go to put her number in my phone, and another number, it pops up. He gave me his own phone number. I'm like, so I texted him back, said, hey, you gave me your number. So he gave me her number, and I did. I texted her. Like I said, I've sent her cards. I've reached out, and nothing came back. And I figured, you don't know what's in someone's head. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's sad, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we really take our health for granted.
Yeah.
And you could bump your head on a doorknob, and
I do it all the time, every week. I'm a regular.
Yeah, I mean, it don't take much, man, to be turned upside down. I'll tell you.
You're right. Absolutely right.
Yeah, so I'm trying my hardest to take advantage of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason I want to retire early. Money's not important as the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can have all the money in the world, but if you work yourself to death, so.
And that's why I make choices that I make. Like, yesterday, it would have been nice to sit outside, enjoy the weather. But I said, you know what? I know they want that tow truck worked on. They need it for the business. Let me get my ass down there and do this. So I did. And then today, I was really kind of tired after getting my ass kicked working on the tow truck. And I was thinking, we got to work on the Mustang again. It's not a rush, and he's not hounding me. But I said, you know what? So let me go do it today, get out and do something. Because sure, I can sit around, but I can sit around tomorrow too. So
yeah, I mean, but you have the choice,
right?
You know what I mean? When you're locked in, man, and you're grinding,
right?
When
you're under the man's thumb, you don't have a choice.
Yeah, I watched my dad do it, man. He worked till he's 65, and 2 weeks later, he died.
Oh God, really?
And I'm not doing it, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm cutting back on everything. I'm going to lose some weight. I don't care. Me and my wife are going to travel and, look at stuff that we want to look at.
Yeah.
Yep.
You gotta make the best of the time you have, because it just, especially as you get older, it goes by fast.
Yeah.
And then God forbid something happens. Unfortunately, with John, what happened? I mean, I came on the show as a guest after he had passed, but I was watching the show before that, and I had told Ray when I first came on that I enjoyed listening to the after show and the banter back and forth. And to me, John when he'd tell his stories, he had a soothing voice.
Well, after the video you sent me today, now I understand how you could say he had a soothing voice. You tend to like the real hardcore New Yorkers.
yeah, exactly. I forgot about that. But but then the other thing is that happened, and then a couple weeks prior to that, a close friend of mine and my wife, I'd call this girl our best friend, and my wife went to school. She was in the same graduating class as her, and I was a couple years ahead of them. We all went to the same school. But she went to the hospital with some pain in her back, and it ended up being cancer, and she lived like maybe a month. I mean, they gave her a treatment. She left, and then within the day she was back in the hospital because she had a bad reaction, and she never left the hospital again. And that was rough. I had coached her son. I knew both of her kids, and I coached her son for many years. Our boys played together. In fact, her son played lineman for my son played quarterback, and they were real close. And it was really hard. And then my wife's father had a health scare, like all in that same time. I was listening to you guys, and then right before you guys announced it, I was like, man, I wonder what's going on. John's not been back on. I hope he's okay. And then you guys came on with that announcement. We had just lost our friend. We got a health scare news about my father-in-law. And I was like, man,
what the hell's the world coming to?
Yeah.
For a brief moment, it did feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, we've been talked into having to, work yourself until you die.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I pretty much have everything I want. I want more stuff, toys, you know what I mean? But I don't need them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everything I need, I have. So, why work more? I mean,
No, you're right. You're right.
I could be greedy and want more stuff, but
I mean, I'll say this: working is good. It's good for a person's. It's good for me, It's good for my soul, good for my psyche. It's good because it keeps me moving. I like to keep my hands moving, even though I got the tendonitis in this hand, the arthritis in this hand. I still like using them. I enjoy doing things with them.
Mhm.
So, and it's good to be productive, even if you're doing some stupid, insignificant crap around the house. It's good to be, because I know people who do nothing.
yeah.
And I look at them like, why don't you do something?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I love to create stuff, so I'm gonna be just
that's what I'm talking about.
going wild. You know what I mean? Once I figure out how I'm gonna set up my leather stuff, if we go sit in Arizona for 3 months or something, I'm gonna make a lot of leather stuff. That's my getaway. Really, it's relaxing, it's calming, and I can make a couple bucks. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I can get 2 tacos instead of 1.
Right. The thing that got us, Isaac, was, and we've all experienced this already, but as you get older, it's always your parents are seeing all the losses of their friends. Now we're seeing our friends dying
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
right in front of us. And it gets close. And you say, man, that was close. And you got to wonder, like, when's it coming?
Well, that's one thing I can say, Ray, that I actually, the one thing that I hate about my business in the 20 years, how many customers that I've lost from all kinds of things, from just, from age, from sickness, from a car crash, a car incident, or, when they take their life.
Right.
And like I said, that's one of the hardest things that I tell a lot of guys when they get in this business. You'll be surprised. And, like I said, I can't tell you how many times that I've been invited, gone to a wedding. One of my guys get me, I want you to come to my wedding or any of that stuff. You get invited to all kinds of stuff and you see these guys go through. It's I'm at the point now where, I had a father and a son involved, and now the son has a kid.
Right.
It's like 3 generations that I've seen or starting to go through. And it's like, it's really, that part of it, like I said, is exciting or feels good. But like I said, on the other side of it is just, and, like I said, with John, it just was, that's the mind boggling part, because 1 minute he's there talking to you. And then of course the next minute, it's,
that's why it's in reflection. It's actually 6 years today that I started working at that shop with these guys. And early on, I worked with the son, who at the time was only 24. Yeah, or 23, maybe. And I remember just telling my wife this the other day. There'd be nights like this, those beautiful summer nights, and we would just be there late working on something. You want to get a job done, and then you finished, and it's like you're standing there, all the bay doors are open, the lights are on, and it's like you can see the traffic change. It's not the work traffic anymore. And I told him, I said, this takes me back to when I was younger, where you'd either be at someone's shop or you'd be even at someone's house. And then, you'd hear the exhaust coming from down the block, and somebody would be cruising by, and they'd see you, and they'd hook the U-turn and pull in, and just, hey, what's going on? You opening the headers on the coupe tonight? What are you doing? We go cruising. I said, this was like the best time. Somebody show up for a 6-pack, guys get a pizza, and then maybe let's pull our motor out of the tow truck. Or we'll pull the motor out of the car. A whole other line of work starts up. I said to him that, he was listening to me, and I said to him, that was such a good time of my life when that would happen on a regular basis. I said, and I feel like I've got it back again because I'm here with you guys. You guys gave me that opportunity to revisit my past. It was almost like, like you die and you get to visit, times of your life. I said, it's almost kind of like how I feel. I got to revisit it. And it was actually in a town that I used to hang out in when I was that age. So I know he couldn't understand all of that, but it meant something to me, boy. I said, now I got to hold on to that because, that's good. It's good stuff. So that's what we got to do. We got to hold on to the good stuff and go forward and then try and pay it forward. I like to pay it forward to other guys. And through me, Junior has heard a lot of stuff. And, I like to do that because even though it wasn't his life, he can understand it, and it maybe make him appreciate his life a little more, which would be good. Because we take it for granted. We do. We all, not.
So, Isaac, I got a question for you.
Yes,
How
sir.
long did you listen to this show before you jumped in?
So, I want to say it was late 2019 or so. I don't know if you remember, because when I came on, I was trying to think back, and I was like, how did I friend Lewis on Facebook? And I was trying to go back and remember, and I was like, I can't remember. And I mean, I was sitting there for months trying to remember. And that was about the time I came on.
Oh,
and I was trying to remember. And then I started thinking, and I was like, I know I've listened to the show for a while, but what happened was, how I got introduced to the show and started listening was I was working on something, I was doing something, and I wanted to listen to something while I was busy to kind of make the time go by easier.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was working on the car or something like that. And I was like, you know what? I want to pull up something with Lou Santiago. So I did a search on him on Google, and this show came up, and I was like, oh, I'll check that out. And that was the one that he was talking about the kit for the North Star engine, the Cadillac North Star engine, to strengthen it.
Right.
And I was like, this is a good show. And so I started watching like reruns, and I was like, I got to figure out when this show is on. And if I would, now, again, I was in the middle of doing stuff. So I was like, maybe if I focus more, maybe if I listen to the show while I'm seated and not doing something, I'll figure it out. Of course, we say it throughout the show, but I figured it out. I subscribed, and then I was watching one, and it was one of the older shows, and you mentioned something, and I was like, I'm gonna look you up on Facebook, and I sent a friend request.
Oh, okay.
And then and I would send you a message every once in a while, and sometimes I would send you a message on the show, that was a good show last night or whatever. And through the pandemic, like I said, I want to say it was at least the fall of 2019. And then when the pandemic hit, and then I was like, I need to work around the house so I can keep busy. I'm going stir crazy. And I started listening as I was working around the house. And then every Thursday night, I'd tell my wife, it's the show. I got to tune in. If you need me. And at times I would be cooking, and I'd listen while I was cooking. And my wife would be hollering at me, but I got the earbuds in. And I'd take them out and go, did you say something? Or my daughter would be hollering at me. And I'd say, hey, it's Thursday night. I'm listening. Just wave at me, or tap me. I'll try to keep one ear open.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, it was a thing. And then she would be like, oh, it's Thursday night, it's your show, and got to listen to the show. And
That's cool.
so that's basically how I started listening. And especially when I was working on the bathroom, when I was redoing the drywall and everything. There's a couple of times where it was in the middle of the night. And, well, when I say the middle of the night, it's like 9-10 o'clock, so it wasn't real late. But I'm up there, my daughter's asleep, my wife's asleep, and I'm trying to hang drywall on the ceiling, and I'm teeter-tottering between a step stool and the sink. And then back in 2015, I had torn my meniscus, and one of those days I got real irritated because I'm up there trying to balance, and I turned and I felt that sharp pain in my knee. And I'm like, if I go down, I'm going to lose this piece of drywall. I've got to get a whole new sheet. And at that point, I'm not even thinking about hurting myself. I'm thinking about I'm going to smash this drywall. I was able to get it hung up, but I was like, you know what? It's that time of the day. I need to listen to the show. I'm like, so I can kind of regulate what I'm doing, but also keep my wits about me where I'm not like getting upset, you know. And but yeah, that's how I started listening. And then every once in a while, I know throughout that time, I shoot you a message on Messenger, and you know, hey, that was a good show, or you guys talked about this, I like that. So, and because I listened on my phone, I never and I'd listen live, I never would message in on YouTube because I couldn't figure out how to get my phone to do it, and I was too lazy to go bring it up on my computer.
Oh yeah.
I think I brought it up once, and I was like, oh, I can message here, but every time I'd be on my phone. So.
Yeah. The reason I asked you, because I'll meet people, like I'll go to a show or something somewhere, and people say, oh, I watch the show all the time. I'm like, why don't you chime in? This is for everybody. This is community.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So any chance you get, man, if you could just let people know that, hey, everybody's welcome. You know what I mean? Just come hang out with us.
Actually, when I go to the Cars and Coffee and I take pictures of those cars and stuff, I'll turn around and mention it to people, and I'll say, hey, tune in. I said, and even if you can't tune in on Thursdays, subscribe, check it out. You can watch any of the past broadcasts. I said, you know, there was a guy, I want to say about a month ago, with the pictures I put in on Messenger, there was a Corvette, a white Corvette. It was like a 62 or 63. And that guy, when I talked to him, I said, I said, if you don't mind, I want to get a picture of the car, but I want to get a picture of your for sale sign. And I said, I'm going to post it in the group. And I started telling him about the show. And so stuff like that, when I get the opportunity or I get to talking to people, I try to find a way to bring it up and say, hey, check it out. And I'll show them, I'll pull it up on my phone and I'll show it to them. And this is how you spell it. This is where you go. And
nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I try to get people to tune in. My athletic director, he's not really into cars, but I'll be like, hey, it's Thursday night. I gotta get out of here, and it's the show night.
Yeah.
But you know, any of the kids that show interest in car stuff, I'll tell them, you know, hey, we have a show. You know, if you're into cars, check with your parents and check it out if you want.
Nice. Yeah. So listen, if you guys ever have anything that you want to promote or talk about, you know, I mean, we can use your thoughts for a show too. You know what I mean? You know, you might have a Cars and Coffee that's raising money for somebody, or you know, for somebody might be sick or whatever. Any of that kind of stuff, man. I want this to be a community that everybody can be a part of. You know what I mean?
It's funny you say it, Louis, because just this week, you know, on my show, Chris does what he calls the Honor Group of the Hour. Just something he makes up about to honor certain people. And it's usually kind of wacky or off the wall. But a lot of times you say, yeah, man, I've done that. I've said it. And a guy who listens to the show sent me an email and said, "Hey, I got a suggestion for the Honor Group of the Hour." And he said, now I got a grandkid. And he says, let me tell you, if you've never put a new car seat in a car for for a kid, he says, now you might have done it for your own kids. He goes, but they've changed. He goes, so if you've never done it recently in a newer car with a newer seat, he said, you got something to learn. And he said, I think that'd be a great. So I sent it over to Chris, and he says, yeah, that is a great, that is a good.
That and the baby seat, the baby strollers too, man. My son's stroller.
Uh-huh.
Man, you hit a button and it turns sideways and flips and goes down. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, this is making everybody soft.
It's like
you got a fan on it, blowing on the baby. And I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Right.
It's crazy.
So, so that's the community aspect that we love when that happens.
Yeah.
That's great.
But I hear it all the time. I'll go somewhere and somebody's like, oh, I watch your show or I listen to your show. I'm like, well, holler at us. Let us know you're there. Something.
I've been getting that for you. Oh yeah, listen, you guys. Well, how long you been listening? And I'll do it even when somebody calls. And I'll know, like, I know the voice. Like, I know you're not a regular caller.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, first time I'm calling. Well, how long you been listening? Oh, well, like 7-8 years. I was like, and it took you this long to call? Listen, and I'll tell them, since you've been listening that long, that we love talking to new people, and we're not going to bite you. We're going to be, friendly. So shame on you for taking so long and call back,
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't.
So here's a question for you guys. In Facebook, there's groups. Now, the messenger message I send you guys, with the link and everything, I've noticed that you guys have been talking back and forth a lot. So would you want me to do a actual group, Planet Traffic group?
Well, I think
Facebook?
that would be.
Yeah, Facebook.
I think that would be cool because, there's a bunch of different groups I follow on Facebook, and sometimes it's cool to see different things people post or share.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with this group of guys that, and the guys that come on from time to time, we've got a good group. Like, I joined a welders group to check it out and maybe learn some stuff. And I'm like, this ain't the group for me, because every time somebody posts, they all pounce on them. Oh, that's horrible. And I'm like, you know what? How about we talk about your car? I'm like, I want to get you in a car thing and really come down on you.
You can still have that problem. That's the only problem. Like I said, when you open up to,
to everybody
in that way, or make your page, that's one of the things. Like I said, we have all of us are as distributors. We have a Facebook page, and like I said, when you look at it and you figure how many years of experience are on there, and you can help a new guy out, but there are a handful of guys that will start beating somebody up over it, and you're like, well, then you get to a point where, A, either you don't want to answer it, or two, you don't want to post anything. That's the only problem.
Right.
It's kind of like our messenger thing is kind of closed. Our messenger is just really us, not having a public or influence on the Facebook.
Well, I would keep our messenger, just our main group like it is now. But I'm thinking to add a Planet Traffic group. I already have a page, but add a group where anybody can go in.
Yeah.
But you might be right. I don't know if I want to deal with idiots.
What you can do, and again, it's back to how much do you want to deal with, or if you have somebody that can help you with it as a moderator, that you set the rules to join. You have to, like, I'm in a couple Porsche groups, and to join, it's closed sorta, but you put in a request. You have to answer a couple simple questions, nothing crazy, but it basically shows you follow or have an interest in Porsche, and then it gives the rules, and then they'll kick you out. You know, so that's one way to do it. But now the hard part is if there's somebody abusing it, you're going to want a moderator that can help you, so it's not overwhelming you.
Right.
And you know who
But that would be the way to do
moderator? John would have been the perfect moderator. You get out of here! Get out of here!
He'd get like this. He'd get all like this. He'd get, now look here, you piece of shit.
Exactly.
Remember when he used to go on his rants, man, about
Oh
something?
man,
Oh yeah.
those are the best.
He'd jump all in that screen and that fucking he'd be like going like.
I mean, more
The
than
later in
one.
the night, the better
More
it
than
got.
once, and even I think once on your behalf, Lewis, I had John on the side. I had him on a phone call and said, "Listen, dude, you gotta do me a favor. You gotta like curb it a little bit. Like, don't go that far because I know you're saying you don't care that the black SUV is gonna come out in front of your house. I mean, one time he said he wanted to see a missile go right through the White House, right into the Oval
Oh,
Office.
I know.
You know, I'm like, you really gotta just calm that down a little bit, please." He's like, "Really, am I over the edge?" I'm like, "Sometimes, just a little bit." He's like, "Okay, all right, for you, I'll do it." See, Isaac, that's like from being here, from growing up in New York and on Long Island. A lot of people are like that. You know, that's kind of like what we do. You know,
Yeah.
and Brooklyn is even worse. You know, that's the old school. Like that video you said is like the old school Brooklyn. But that's definitely the sensibility. You know, and a lot of people don't get it.
Well, and that's the thing. I like it. Look, tell it to me straight.
Yeah. Oh, you get it straight, all right.
You know, here, I'll give you an example. Right before the election, in 2020, I walked into the O'Reilly's parts store, and there was a guy, and of course, there was all the back and forth of politics, and I was tired of it. And there was the whole, you know, well, Trump's America, it's racist, and I'm like, God, I'm tired of it. I walk in, and there's this big guy in there, and he's got a shirt that has the SS lightning bolts. It says white boy proud.
Wow.
And it had all this stuff on it. And I looked and I was like, you know, some a-hole would walk in here and go, "Yep, that's Trump's America." And I looked at it and went, two things. One, freedom of speech, and I'm all for freedom of speech. Two, well, I should say three things. Two, I know who to watch out for. I'd rather you wear that stuff because now you're not being nice to my face, and then I got to watch my back. My eyes are on you. I know who to watch out for.
Right.
But then the other thing is, I'm sitting there going, you know, it's not Trump's America. This is just America, that there are some pockets of bad people from any walk of life. You know, there's shysters out there. There's criminals out there. There's racist people out there. There's, I mean, any you can go down any pathway, and there's pockets.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean the whole country is like that, or that there's a major problem across the whole country. It's all in your viewpoint. But again, if I know somebody being a shyster or they've got the signs, I know to steer clear.
Yep.
If they're racist, or if they're you know, we walk into a place and somebody's ganged up, I'm watching them and going, "Hey, things are on edge. Hey, grab the kids, let's go. We don't belong here." You know, and that happened when me and my wife were first together. We were in a roller skating rink, and I saw a couple different guys were ganged up. You know, they're flying their colors and stuff, and I'm watching them, and I'm like, "Hey, we gotta go. We gotta go now. Grab my son. Let's go." And we get out, and she was like, we had discussions in preparation where she knew if I said it a certain way, we'll talk about it in the car. And when we got in the car, I said, "Hey, this is what was going on." I said, the one guy started to reach under his shirt, and I wasn't waiting to see if he was faking or if he really had a gun. And I said, "I've got you, I've got my son, I've got you to worry about. We just go, we talk about it in the car." And that's what we did. And now I didn't sit there and say, I'll never go back to that place. I didn't sit there and say, "Oh, this is horrible America, and it's all gangs and thugs," and
Right.
And like I said, there's pockets of certain people of any type of flavor that you can say throughout the whole country.
Yeah.
And, I mean, another example. I told my wife, we were talking about my son was at Fort Benning at one point, and then he was being moved up to Fort Bragg, and we talked about going over there to see him. And I said that would be awesome. You would love how green it is over there. And I said, but here's the thing. I said, we got to talk to our other son, our daughter. And I said, just understand. I said, in the city, we got to watch where we go. There's certain, just like any other city, there's places we don't belong. I said, but when we're driving in between, I say if we fly into Atlanta and we're driving from point A to point B, we're not stopping in the little towns. I said, it's not our place. It's not our state. It's not our area. We don't know what towns are good and what towns are bad. And if somebody's got to pee, we're peeing on the side of the road. I said, because there's still certain pockets that they see you with blonde hair, blue eyes, the kids with blonde hair, and they see me, and it can cause issues for everybody. And I said, that doesn't mean the whole state's bad. But I don't want to find out which town.
Be aware. Yep, you gotta be aware. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, I was talking about us flying into Atlanta. That is not when I say that, that's not a knock on the state of Georgia at all. That's any state has there's certain areas around here where I'm like, yeah, we ain't going to that town, or we're not messing around there, or, and again, I think the spots we went through, it's very beautiful. When we went to see my son graduate from boot camp, in Atlanta, we went through a couple different spots. The people were real nice. One of the things I really liked is it's the Bible Belt. There was a lot of yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. That hospitality, that different type of attitude that you don't see here. Now, at the same token, as far as like New York, I like the fact that New Yorkers and Texans are kind of the same, but in a different style, where it's say it to me straight, don't BS me. I ain't got time for your bull, for your garbage. And I love that about New Yorkers. They shoot straight from the hip.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, my buddy Bill, who watches this show, he just got in late and he tuned in. He goes, he sent me a text. He says, "Hey Ray, what's going on, man?" He goes, "It sounds heavy tonight." I said, "Yeah, it took a little bit of a heavier turn, but lighten it up again."
All right, guys, I'm gonna jump ship.
All right, Lewis.
I'm gonna get up early and sand my hood back down and repaint it.
That's because you are a hood. Listen, so we
Yeah.
So let me say, in the same way that we reminisce about John and miss him, and we all feel the same thing, I also want to put a big thanks out to you, because you're the creator, and without you, we wouldn't have all been here. We wouldn't have all met each other, and that's just the way it works. I mean, I know it wasn't by design. It's kind of a happy accident, and I'm grateful for it because I love it. I mean, I thought I met people through the radio show, but this really opened it up to all over the place. And, I think it's just what I needed, but I think it's what everybody needs at some point.
Yeah.
So thank you. You're the man of the hour tonight.
Oh, man, thank you. I appreciate it. Here's the thing, like you were talking that you hung out in a garage when you were younger. So I wanted that flavor for this. Like, we can hang out, talk about our cars, or ask questions, or help each other.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the basis of it, really.
Absolutely. And it is.
I appreciate you guys, man, because I look forward to coming on Thursday. I'm like, oh, man. Some days I'll have a bad day. I'm like, I'm like, you know what? It's Thursday, man. The fella's going to be on tonight. So,
Right.
It gets me juiced up. And Isaac sent a video.
Yeah.
That's
how I feel about Thursday nights. That dance video, that little dance video. And,
it was great.
And I have to thank you too, Lewis, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't I wouldn't have been introduced to the show, wouldn't have had a chance to come on here. And, you know, listening to you guys had, before coming on here, had become my heroes in the sense of somebody to listen to. Oh, these guys they're popular, they're cool, they're, you know, everything I like. And then you'd have the guest, and I'm like, hey, don't interrupt me if you can go without, because they're interviewing this guy. It's this guy from the TV show I watch, and let's watch this, you know. And then being able to come on and be involved with meeting some of these guys, you know, I think it's just awesome. And, you know, and then too, the help with that initially coming on was to get help with my car, you know, and everything that you guys have that we've talked about, that you've shared with me, that when I've had questions, you've helped, you know, I appreciate it all. And it wouldn't have happened without giving me the opportunity you did, Lewis.
Oh, no problem, man. I love this stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. All right, guys. Now I'm gonna go cry because you guys make me cry.
Yeah, I know.
All right, I appreciate you guys. Have a good week and stay safe.
Right. Good luck with that paint.
Take care, bud.
Be safe.
All right. I'll post some stuff.
All right.
Good luck on the sanding.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, definitely. So Brian, again, I think the thing that makes me want to dance the most, that makes me really happy,
You got socks. Oh,
is this ratchet. Yeah, the socks. But this ratchet, man, until you have this in your hand, Justin, this is a 1/4-inch drive ratchet with a 3/8 head. And I was explaining to my buddy whose house I was over how special this is. I said, not everybody can get one of these. I said, you got to have like dispensation from the Pope. You got to have a letter from the tool guard. I said, because these don't just get made for just anybody. I can't wait to use this thing on something.
now you had the kit, right? I put a kit in there.
You put the quarter. It's a 1/4-inch kit, right? That was the.
No, it should be. Is it? Oh, yeah, maybe it was a 1/4-inch kit. That was the one that came with it originally.
Yeah, I thought so. I put that out in the toolbox already. Yeah.
Yeah, in case you wanted to switch it back
Right.
or
This thing
use
is
it.
so cool. I mean, it's like, man, until you actually hold it in your hand, you just don't know.
That's 15 inches or 12 inches of love there, Ray.
I know. It's
That's what I do when I walk in with them. I hand it to the guy. I said, "Here's your 12 inches of love right here, baby."
It actually measures like 13 3/4 from end to end.
because of the flex head part.
Yeah, that is so cool.
And I almost, and actually, I just got another one, but it's not as long because they weren't. But you know, my pink one, I was going to make you a pink one.
Oh yeah. The pink is cool.
So
I'll use pink. And I was glad that I mentioned this way back when ago. I think this has got to be one of the best lights I've had in my hand. I really do. It's so sturdy. You know, it's like really, you can see how sturdy it is. And of course, I got to remember where the freaking button is. I keep forgetting.
yeah, you gotta.
You know, bright. But that was the thing I wanted it for.
Yeah.
The blue for
The
blue
UV,
dye.
the dye.
UV.
And I think that's true blue.
I can just like paint myself.
Yeah. That's true blue, so it works with any dye. It's true blue
Back to
violet or violet.
Excellent.
Does it have the timing light flicker feature?
Does it have
Almost. You think so, right?
Push the button really fast.
Yeah. And the strangest thing that I actually forgot about was that
yeah, that's that wristband that has the tools.
that Dobie bracelet.
yeah.
I'm like, oh shit! And I looked like, yeah, that was on my list. Man, I took a link out of it because I had to make it smaller. So I'm thinking like, you know, I have many multi tools, and I've collected them over the years, and like. I keep one here in the drawer. I got one upstairs. I got one next to my chair in the den because it's always. I actually use the multi-tool to undo the screws for that tool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That was several years ago.
Yeah.
and they had a guy. I had a guy that said he wanted one, and I said okay, and I got it in. Actually, I think it's actually been obsolete or deleted. I don't think it's actually made anymore.
Probably. I was looking at the paperwork. There is a year on it.
And so I got one in, and he started him and Holly. It was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Maybe next week I'll have some. And I was like, look, dude. So I opened. It was funny that we talked about, or when we talked about, because I opened the drawer in the bottom of in the tool truck, threw it in there, and really forgot all about it. And
It's made by Leatherman. Now Lewis had one of these, I think.
Yeah, somebody was talking about that, and I was
What's
like,
really cool is they give you a whole instruction sheet to show you, because each link does 3 things.
yeah.
So they show you all that, and then they show you on the back like how to take the links apart and how to do this and that. It's this piece of paper is amazing. It really is amazing.
And then I guess like I said, then when I guess Lewis was showing it or something, whatever, and I said, oh, that's right, I remember that thing in the drawer. And then when you said that, I was like, man, I know Ray's the right guy for it.
He showed off his, and I said, oh, that'd be cool. So it's funny how I totally forgot about it. I was like, wow, that's pretty wild. Now, okay. Now the other thing I got to figure out is the greaser.
Uh-huh.
See, the one we had at the shop was this one.
Yeah. That's the
cartridge
right
onto it.
You could still, I mean, I need to know the diameter, and you can still get some of the, but that's the new style now. It screws right onto that tube.
Goes right on the tube. That's what I thought.
And then you just screw that on like that, and then all you have to do is to prime it is you just squeeze the tube a little bit, and then you just pump it in, and that's the new and improved.
This is cool. Yeah, this is. I actually have to get. I have a glass syringe, but I don't have a needle for it. And I know if I start asking people like for a needle for a syringe, they're gonna start looking at me like, oh
yeah.
Because sometimes you got to get into something really, really small.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Okay, so this is synthetic impact wrench grease.
Yeah. So don't go crazy with it.
Well, this isn't. So this obviously isn't oil. It's not air tool oil.
No, that's just the grease to put in when your hammer case in the front and the nose.
Ah. I have never done that. So what do? You pull the nose off?
No. You have a little grease fitting in the front.
Oh.
Or if you
gonna have to prime this on something here.
And then if you on your air ratchets,
I do have those.
you have a grease fitting in right in the pawl here.
Ah. Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a little grease fit and you squirt in there. But in your hammer, on your impact gun, I don't know if I have one down here.
All right, so you're saying squeeze the tube to prime it.
You squeeze a little bit and then you just use the pump as normal. Once you start pumping it, it should go. A lot of times you don't have to squeeze. Don't squeeze too hard because you'll
What about a turkey syringe, or is that needle too big, Ray?
No, I use it. I use a turkey syringe to suck brake fluid out of man's shoulders. Okay, got it. Oh yeah, use it all the time. Perfect. Okay.
See right here, Ray.
Oh, okay.
So like your cover's on there, and there should be a cutout on the cover. Some of them had a cutout, some didn't. You got to take the cover off, but you just right there. You have a little, and you put that in there, and you pump it in. You don't have to go crazy.
I was gonna say, how much grease do you actually is required?
Most guys never do any of it, and when I finally have to replace a hammer or fix something, I just put a couple squirts in it, a couple little squirts, nothing too crazy.
Cool.
But a lot of guys will take it and they'll get the needle and they'll put like wheel bearing grease in there
Oh God.
And the problem with the wheel bearing grease is it doesn't get hot enough to melt, so
It's
it just
way too
becomes a
thick,
big glob of grease in there, and then of course it collects water. You know, it gets
Yeah.
to be a real mess.
Yeah,
So you could use and like I said, you can also that grease you can like I use it on. There are on the backside, but it's very rare. Technically, it
Do you use
depends
it on
on the
regular
gun.
ratchets?
I've used it, but it's a little thick. It's a little thick. I've used it before, but
Yeah. Okay.
your best bet is like that. Even you got to watch. Actually, I did it the other day with that grease. That oil that you got me. That
Trizoil.
yeah.
I've used that too.
I got a little carried away and put too much in, and
Yeah.
it actually hydrolocked between the gears.
Oh wow.
Because it was like you could actually. I was like, "What the fuck? What's going on here?" And I took it back apart, and I realized I had way too much oil in there, and and that's what that was one of the problems that we were having because guys would. It came with oil. It came with a little 1 ounce thing of Marvel Mystery Oil,
Right.
and a lot of guys were dumping the whole thing of Marvel, that whole 1 ounce in. And put it, and you would get it would lock up. It would hydrolock between the gears. It'd get real tight.
Yeah.
In between the teeth. So that was one. And then we had a problem where we were actually using a grease, and I never had any problem. We used to have this like brake caliper grease. You know, the slides that what was that stuff called? It was synthetic. It was
it's actually labeled as brake grease.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it. This stuff was like it was a synthetic stuff.
Yeah.
And it works really good, but you had to just use a little bit. A lot of guys would get in there and just put so much stuff.
Yeah, they overdo it.
And it would just it would hydrolock. I mean, you know, the grease would get in between the teeth.
Interesting you say that, because tonight I brought a bunch of tools with me to Rick's house. I came home, I had a big bag, and I brought my Silverline 1/4-inch set in case I needed it. And I threw a bunch of extra extensions in there. So they were rattling around. I said, okay, let me take the extra extensions out, and a couple of sockets always fall over. So I had the original ratchet from that set in there. I should have thrown it out, but it's in there because I got that new one from you. And I said, oh, yeah, okay. So I was going to put it back in its place, and it wouldn't move. It was locked up solid, and I couldn't move the reverse lever. I couldn't turn the pawl. I grabbed a pair of pliers to try to turn the pawl, and it wasn't budging. I'm like, all right, that's weird. I don't know why. I didn't do anything. It wasn't sitting in acid or anything. And I think I put it down, and I put the extensions away, and I picked it up again, and then it turned. I was like, what? What the hell?
I was going to say...
I know you said you didn't really care for that ratchet too much.
Yeah, those are... I hate to say they're junk, but
no,
they're...
I know. Yeah. Well, that's why I replaced them with the other one. But
yeah. But like I said, like a lot of times with those, just moisture alone, I can't tell you. And they're a bitch to take apart. Those Silver Eagle ones, man. They have a kit for them. They don't even make. I mean, I have a kit. I have a couple kits for them, and it's a pain in the ass. I just replace them.
Yeah.
I just replace them and send them in, and they've never rejected it because it's such a pain, but. Because it has that push button on the back, any kind of moisture, even just the humidity moisture in there, they rust up inside. You gotta spray them down with WD-40.
It could be humidity because the garage does get humid, even though I have an exhaust fan in there. So even if the door's closed, it vents. But there is humidity.
No, because even the ones that I have, the ones I have sitting on the roof of my tool truck. I notice sometimes when I go to warranty them out and I pull it down, they're stuck, and I gotta spray them down with WD-40 and work it and spin it around. And That's just the cold, the air from the air conditioning.
Oh yeah.
On the tool truck coming across the top and the condensation from the heat and everything.
Right.
I hate to say, that like that pair of pliers that you had that from Snappy that rusted all funny looking.
Yep.
I got a few on the truck that's been there long enough. And guys will say, "Oh, I want that." And I said, I said, get the one in the back over there, or I'll order you up another one. They say, why? I said, and I show them, and they're like, well, I don't care. It's a tool. And I said, well, I care.
Yeah.
I said, I don't want,
Well, it's like even like when I went to bring it back to I only had them for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, whatever. and I gave them back to him. He looked at me. He said, what's the matter? I said, well, look at this side is like perfect, but look at the other side. I said, they started discoloring. And then, of course, he's like, well, where are you keeping them? I'm like, they're in my toolbox at my house, not in a controlled environment or anything. I said, but they're, it's a better environment than the shop is, I think.
Yeah.
With everything. That shop leaks like a sieve. I said, I take care of my stuff. I clean them. I said, he goes, oh, well, what do you want to do? What's the problem? I said, I want a new pair. That's what I want to do. I said, I want you to take these things back and get me another pair. Oh, well, really? I'm like, yeah, really. Like, if it was like a $20 pair of pliers, I'd say no big deal, but they were expensive.
See here? See this one?
Yes.
See this side?
Yeah. That looks fine. Yeah. That's even, wow, that's bad. That's
That does
bad.
not look fine.
Yeah.
So maybe
Opposite.
wherever they're all having pliers made these days.
But the funny part about this is one, like I said, this is one that sat on my roof.
Oh, yeah.
And the condensation on the back side and the heat and everything, and that's where I got that funky.
I could see that. I mean, and I don't know, maybe he had the pliers I bought. Maybe he had them on the roof before he sold them to me.
Or like I said, or you know what? I hate saying this, and I know that we're still alive, and I might be getting in trouble for this, but we've had stuff that sat at port in the salt air for extended amount of time, and by the time it got to us, I mean, you open it up and you're like, I've actually had, even though they actually like one of our off-brand carts, our overseas carts, the stuff was coming in rust, like the handles were rusted or the hardware was.
Yeah.
So they ended up throwing more of those little
the desk and
yeah. And now it's like you get like 2,000 of them in these things, I got more little packs of that stuff.
Wow.
But we used to have that problem. I mean, I hate to say, we had that problem back in the day. Cars coming in off a port, the Porsches and Audis and BMWs,
right?
Especially because literally, I have a handful of them still. They were like those what do you call them, Industin packs or the they were like little pillows. They would throw them in the car, and they would put them in the car. And during our PDI pre-delivery inspection,
right,
we had to take them out. They'd be in the trunk with electronics and so forth, or the stuff. Yeah. And actually, they're actually great because I use them. I keep them in the gun safe.
Oh, sure.
And with the ammo, I keep them in there. And then every once in a while,
right,
every year, every couple of years, I'll take them and throw them in the dryer. Okay. And if they get, but it was a world of a difference with those things. And they're like, they're like the size, a little bigger than like these two, like that.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah,
they're pretty big packs.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
But
I tell you, I gotta say, it's and this is the stuff that we should never outgrow. You told me a box was coming, so every day I'm like, I'm watching for the truck. Where's the guy? Where's my Brian box? I'm like, all right, it's coming. So, and then today,
Ray, I'm really sorry. No,
don't be sorry. It was like being a kid again. It's like, yeah, there's my box, man. I can't wait to open this thing up. It's like great. And
I'm more mad. I'm more mad because, like I said, I got a gotta send it to you so you get your AC fixed. Your the hydraulic crimping line.
The other thing is, if you still have them, those jack wheels.
Oh yeah. That's their.
Because that's obsolete now.
Yeah.
For my floor jack.
Yeah. Here. Yeah. The big one.
The big jack wheels. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so listen, I told Mike today. I said, listen, I got your easy solder clamp. Finally came in. He goes, oh, excellent. I said, I'll come by the shop. I'll bring it to you. So when you do your credit cards tonight, don't forget, hit the credit card, run the bill.
Dude, I don't even know what you got or how much to charge you, Ray.
Well,
that's how bad it is.
I can't really help you. I really can't help you with that because I don't know either. But I mean, that's a good deal.
I don't even know what I sent you. I got this box that says Ray on it, and just throw it all in there.
Well, I made a list. I can send you the list because you got to do, and you got to send me email, and then you got to email me a receipt so I'll know when Mike's out and show it to him. You know what? Let's see. And actually, those scrapers. That's a pretty cool scraper set.
You know what? You know what's funny about that? Remember that was on one of those advertisements on the web one
of the specials.
Right. Okay. So I had ordered a handful of them because that. But do you realize that's actually a different scraper? I guess because those were being obsolete. Those were being deleted. That's why they were being sold or being sell.
The ones I was thinking about were the carbide tip scrapers. The carbide ones, but that's okay. These look pretty cool too.
They're heavy duty. It's
got a striking end on it.
I mean,
shit, that's
but
pretty
the
cool.
ones that were originally on that TikTok or that thing there that you sent me was one number, and I ordered it, and that's the ones that was the replacements they sent.
Okay,
so that was actually a good deal because we got them for that price.
Right.
So.
$20. Me love you long time.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, right. I don't know about a long time, but yeah.
Right.
I just took a picture of the list and I sent it to you, so you'll know what you sent me.
That's terrible.
So thank you for that because it made my day. And don't forget to when you run the cards, don't forget to run mine. Yeah, that's great. And the shirts are cool. Like I said, the T-shirts. I remember that one design. It was like
the power
electrician. I really like that. I was like, that's such a great. I said, you know what? I forgot all about it. I told my wife. I said, I liked it then, and I like it now. That means I really do like it.
And then the other one has a tool truck on it, right? That's the new
gray one.
Yeah, the gray one's the newest one.
Which is cool because I like a shirt that's kind of not over the top.
Yeah.
And that's very basic, not over the top. So that definitely hits the mark too.
Well, it's funny because like I said, the Powers one, they all went out and somebody asked me the other day and they said, do you have any more? And I was like, no. And then of course I came in your box and I said, man, Ray's got a handful. I said, send them to Ray. Because once if I walk in and give the guy one, somebody's going to say, hey, do you have another one?
Right,
and I'm like, dude, they're gone. I mean, that was a year ago or whatever.
It was a while ago. I know.
What's his name? Because you saw it when
it was Michael had it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was.
It was a while ago. Well, that's why I said it really is like Christmas because this is stuff that I remembered all through the year, but really forgot about it. So now it's like everything old is new again. It's like this is so cool.
Yeah. It's terrible.
My wife's like, you never outgrow. I'm like, you know what? The day I outgrow this feeling is the day you should put me in a box. I said, I hope that's how it works. I said, because this is what being a kid is all about.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? Now your friends help you be a kid. I said, so that's what we do for each other.
That's what being a kid's all about, but that's also what being alive is all about.
Exactly.
We got to, as we get older, we got to hang on to that young side that right. when I see videos of like the older couple, the elderly couple or whatever, and they're dancing and they're like dancing swing or something, I'm like,
right,
those people are going somewhere. And I mean they're going somewhere as far as they got life in them. They ain't going They're going somewhere here, not going somewhere checking out.
Right. And I know I have them. You guys may too, but I have friends who are way too young to act the age that they act.
Oh,
You know, it's like, dude, you're a young guy. Don't act like you're like 50 or 60 or 70. You know.
Well, that's one of my sayings, and people always laugh because I'll say, yell and scream and be a kid.
Right.
That's what I tell my girls all the time, and I tell my customers that, and they look at me, and I was like, dude, everybody's so wound up and so serious. Just yell and scream and be a kid.
Right. Exactly.
Well, like a month or two ago, when we took my mom grocery shopping, and I found that James Bond, I think it was You Only Live Twice.
Yeah.
The Toyota, the Hot Wheels. And I found it. I was like, oh, I got to get this. And I'm like, Mom, you're going to get this for me, right? And I said, you're going to get it for me because otherwise I'm going to just throw a fit right here and I'm going to stomp and scream. And, I think that's the same day she ran me over with the cart. But
nice.
But yeah, there's people that they either act older than they are, like miserable older, or achy, or we all have we all have days where you might be a little stiff or achy or whatever.
Yeah.
But they draw it out, and it's like you're not helping yourself. But then you have the people too, and like you said, I think we all know somebody or have at least come across paths of people that are angry at the world from the moment they wake up throughout the day. I mean, and I'll be the first to admit and point at myself where I can be moody. I have my moments where I've got a fiery temper. However, for the most part, I try to stay away from that. I try to keep it under control and just enjoy life, and if something happens that falls apart, try to look at it as, well, it is what it is, or can it be fixed? And am I going to sit here and be angry, or am I going to
right.
We bought a couple years back, we bought a 75-inch flat screen, and Tuesday, I think it was, my wife wakes me up in the morning and she goes, Isaac, you need to come out here. Something's wrong with the TV. There's no screen. Oh. And I'm like, okay, it probably needs a reset. So I do the little bit I know, and the screen doesn't come on. So I start checking into it, and I'm like, you know what? How long have we had it? And how long did we get the extended warranty? And how long did it go for? I think it's out of warranty, go figure. But then from what I'm looking at, it's either the power inverter that controls the LEDs, or it's possibly the LEDs. Yeah. And I've got it partially apart on our dining room table, and I look at it like, you know what? I'm gonna get educated on TV repair, and it is what it is. I can be upset. I can pump my fist, throw a fit, have a riot in front of my house by myself. It ain't gonna fix nothing, but we all have in fact, I'll tell you the best piece of advice or explanation. It was when I went to that coach's clinic in March, and it was the former Atlanta Falcons coach, Coach Smith. I can't remember his first name. But he gets up to the podium and he goes, who's ever had a bad day? And he goes, go ahead, raise your hand. Don't be shy. And everybody kind of looked around, and we all raise our hand.
Yeah.
We've all had bad days. And he goes, that's the problem right there. And I'm like, okay, what did we get suckered into? And he goes, you have bad moments. It's up to you whether you make it a full bad day. But when you take a step back and look at it, yes, bad things happen. Yes, the world is rough at times. But when you separate it and look at, was it just a bad moment? He goes, because I have bad moments. He goes, but when I look at all my good moments, or all the blessings, or all the good things, that bad moment ain't so bad. It is what it is in the moment, but you leave it in the moment.
Well, I
was like, oh my God. I was like, this is one of the best coaching speeches
Yeah, I always like to think of it different. Like, no matter how bad I have it, there's always somebody else that's worse. It's like someone's going into the hospital today, or someone just got bad news. Someone's having a surgery that they don't want to do, or they're having life-saving surgery, and I'm out here enjoying the day. So enjoy the day, because we've all been on the other side of that, where the day isn't so fun. So
Yeah, I agree with that too. I used to, when I'd be having a bad day, I even when I was around friends that were really having a rough time, I'd say, "Hey, look at that bum over there. Would you want to trade places with him?" "Oh man, no." And I'm like, whether he put himself there or not, would you rather be in his shoes? And I said, and to be honest with you, he may, if you went and told him your story, he may look at you and go, "Screw that, I don't want to be in your shoes."
Yeah.
But it's all you got to look at it in relative of, like you said, there's always somebody that may be having it worse.
Right.
I agree 100% with that.
Yeah. So very true. Hey, Brian, I just saw something here that's I got a quiz. Instead of quiz the Swizz, we're going to quiz the Tool Man. So here's the question. It's actually a multiple choice, but I guess you could answer it if you know the answer. What was the origin of the Porsche 911 model name in the early 60s?
Well, the name 911 is actually it was 901.
That's correct.
Actually, it was actually 901, and Porsche stuff is always their blueprint or the project number. So, but it was 901, but I think it was Saab had something with the patent, or they had it on the name, so it was 911. That's why if you look at a part, you can tell what car it went from, because it's in the manufacturer or the blueprints. And the early stuff went from 901, and then it went, a lot of stuff now for a 911 will have a 930, which is the turbo version.
Wasn't the 901 name, wasn't it Peugeot or Renault?
It was, yeah, maybe Peugeot. It was Peugeot or Saab.
I might be wrong, but
I know it was one of those.
I remember hearing that story too.
You guys are on it, and I'll tell you this is on Rock Auto's feed this month. The answer is C. It says Porsche was originally going to call the car the 901, but Peugeot complained that was too similar to many 3-digit with the 0 in the middle Peugeot model names. So Porsche had already purchased a bunch of numbers to apply to the cars, so they decided to simply use an additional one in place of the 0.
Yep.
And they have a Wikipedia link, I think.
And actually, and the funny part was, in 1989, when the 964 came out, they called it the Carrera.
Oh, okay.
And everybody had a shit fit over it because it was not a 911 anymore.
See, I thought it was called the Carrera because of the bar in the top. I thought that was
that was a Targa.
That's Targa.
Correct.
But they called it the car came out Carrera, and it was no longer 911 because that's what it was called. And a lot of people had a cow, and even to this day, they still like it. They're on the model number is like, was it 973.3 or whatever. I mean, that's what the number is, but they still call it a 911. That they could never get rid of that mystique or that name for that car.
So listen to the other two choices. Choice B was the new 2-liter H6 in the car generated 204 pounds of torque, which converts to the metric 911 newtons. and choice A was the new car was primarily designed for North America. The U.S. had just begun promoting the Dial 911 emergency phone number service nationwide. Porsche marketing read Porsche 911, Keen Notfall, nor Orphanbund, No emergency, just excitement.
Yeah.
Funny. That's kind of funny. So
I love doing trivia. I especially when it's when if it's car stuff and when it's history and war type of stuff.
I always did. I started doing a segment on the show called Quiz the Swiz because
Yeah,
he's a great historian. He knows a lot of stuff. I mean, that was the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it. Our paths don't really intersect too much. I know stuff over here. He knows stuff over here. So together we know a lot of stuff.
yeah.
And he knows a lot of history from the car makers and the car designers, which I never had any time to even think of that stuff. I just wanted to go fast. So it's cool. But you know what I found? Food shopping this week. Speaking of John, this one kind of fell into my lap because his buddy,
Yeah.
with that Trans Am, that his buddy had at SEMA.
Yep.
That's the car. I found this one today in the
Yeah,
supermarket.
that's the recolor because originally it was white.
Yeah.
I have the white one.
Yeah, this is HW modified 2 of 3. I found another little stash that I had.
Yeah, there's the white one right there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there it is. Right. Yeah. I found a little stash over in the corner when I was cleaning stuff up. I found
Yep. Johnny Lighton. Yep. I got that one.
Nice.
yeah, that's the Wonder Wagon dragster.
Yep. That's from like 99, 98.
This is KB Toys. They were 3 for $5. Look at
Yeah.
that. Yeah, 3 for $5.
They still
What's
have
the-
KB toys out there.
No, that's for, like I said, that's like late 90s, early 2000s.
I'm sure it is. Yeah. This is another one. Another funny
I like the
car.
Cadillac. I came out of a 5-pack.
Yeah, I keep.
Let me see
forgetting
that
I'm
again,
in
Ray.
this
Which
code.
one was that? Yeah. Yep.
That's cool.
And then there's more. These were all in the corner. I was looking for a book and I started finding it. I don't even remember this series. Johnny Lightning Hot Rods.
Yep.
Oh,
That
that's
was
nice.
It's a Studebaker.
Yep.
Yeah.
With a bullet. Yep.
The Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what to say.
Would I pay $3 for that? Yeah, $3.99.
That's cool, Gary.
This is
I like the purple on the on the car and on the card.
I got the Hall and Hearst.
Yep. The Holland Hearst.
Nice.
But they show the Ghostbusters car.
Yeah.
Frightening Lightnings. That's pretty cool. No wonder I bought these things. And of course, I found the American Graffiti Nomad. People don't even know this car was in the movie.
Yeah. Look at that.
Right at the end, it was at the airport when they were taking
Yep.
off. There was a gold Nomad sitting there. And speaking of our favorite hero,
There we go. Yep.
the DB5.
Yep.
Yep.
That
Of course,
was.
they show Pierce Brosnan,
Yeah.
which is wrong. He would be with a Vanquish.
Well,
Well,
no,
he
no,
drove
no,
the
no,
DB
no.
in GoldenEye. No,
GoldenEye. You go.
Yeah,
Right,
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye, you're right. You are
he
right.
drove it at the beginning.
Yep.
When he was with his psychiatrist that
Right,
he was
yeah.
manipulating,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Right. So fun stuff around the basement.
Well, I've
That's
had.
awesome.
It's been kind of dry here. We haven't had a lot, but the I don't know, but the Jaws.
Oh, cool. The beach.
Yeah.
The beach.
And this is a Blazer custom, but I only bought it because I like the artwork, the card, the artwork,
Right.
and I here lately I've gotten into, like I said, the artwork on some of this stuff. But see, you're talking about. See, that one's old. That's old. For Only You Live Twice.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the
So-
Mustang I can't stand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I found my Batman with
Not the-
Alfred.
Not the worst Bond car, but
Where's Alfred?
well, yeah.
It's when Alfred dressed up as Batman.
Oh,
He's got a little white mustache. I don't
the
know if you can see
mustache.
it.
Yeah, I see the mustache.
yeah.
That's funny.
So I guess, yeah.
That's funny.
Alfred as Batman.
That's cool.
I was
Yeah.
tripping out. I was watching on a Saturday night when Batman came on.
After Sven
I
Gulli.
think I froze.
Yeah.
You're right. You were tripping out.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The penguin I didn't realize was oh God, what's his name? The guy that played Rocky's trainer.
Burgess Meredith.
Yeah.
Burgess Meredith. And then one night my son he got home after working at the grocery store, in the Twilight Zone episode that he's in.
Yes.
It's the one where he
was
wanted
the
time.
bookworm.
He needed more time.
He was the book,
And,
the book guy. Right.
Yeah.
Great
And my
episode.
son came in and I said, "Hey," I said, that's Mickey from Rocky movies."
Right.
He goes, "No, it's not, Dad." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is." I said, "Just watch." I said, "Well, give it
A
a
lot
few
of those
minutes."
actors did Twilight Zone stuff, and a lot did. It was a big thing to do Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
The
people-
funny thing is, I watch so much Perry Mason. I can't believe how much what Adam West was on Perry Mason on
Adam
all
West
the
was
time,
right.
dude. That
He
guy
was.
was like all the time on
He
there.
played that hip. He was like the hip beachcomber, but he was like, was he a music guy?
He was a music guy
Yeah.
in the bookstore, that bookstore one,
In the bookstore. Right.
and then he was like, I don't know, he was some lawyer's help. I mean, there was like a couple
Right.
of them that he was in. I was like,
Correct.
damn. And I think I don't know if it was Adams 12 or Emergency. He was in.
He was an emergency.
Yeah, it was.
It was just on the other day. That's called. They saved him from this on the set. There was a lion that got loose on the set,
Yeah,
and he was afraid of the lion. And it was called the Bash. That's what it was.
yeah,
Because he invites them to a bash at his house, and Johnny, of course, being Johnny,
yeah. Wears a tuxedo. They all look.
overthinks it. Like, what's a bash in Hollywood in the afternoon? And they rent these big, gaudy, big lapel tuxedos with the ravioli shirts, and of course, everybody there is just dressed real hip and casual, and
Yeah.
they look like waiters.
Yeah, they look like penguins.
Of course, they had the funk band playing.
Yep.
I had a nice, cool Ludwig set, and they were playing the funk band, and I think the guitarist had a heart seizure, so they come up and they actually saved his life. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell you, man.
so here's another piece of it'll be trivia in the future. Now it's after 11. We talk about food. This is the record store, Lunchbox Records.
Right.
And they made a sandwich out of records. See how they did that?
Yeah.
That's the one I found out in North Carolina.
So when I was trying to get Bart Simpson out of that top because all I could see is the very top. I couldn't see the rest. Yeah.
Right. I could
And
see
I was
that.
like, why
Yeah.
is Bart Simpson wearing like Hulk Hogan sunglasses or something? You know, it was like, like some kind of sunglasses from Star Trek or something. You know, I'm like trying to figure out your shirt.
Right. Nah, it's Lunchbox Records.
That's funny.
Hey, Brian, Lee asked in the comments, did I see a new wrench set, a line wrench, if that's the right description?
Ray does this to me all the time, and unfortunately, there might be a new set of line wrenches, but I haven't seen.
I think he did, because I think I saw something. I forget if I saw it on YouTube. Probably not YouTube. I might have saw it on Instagram where they threw something out about a new set of wrenches. Yes.
It's so funny because Ray will text me something and say, he'll actually send me the thing because like
Got a picture of it.
because it's different from what we get or what our thing is.
Right.
It's like that part of the apartment's different, and we don't even like. I don't even
That's
know what.
amazing.
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I joke about actually. I had Heidi, and she is the head of new product and marketing and tool thing or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And she called me the other day because we had a survey, and I told her, I was like, look, I mean, I'm going to try to put this as nice as I can, but this is crazy because people show us one thing and we have no, and she's like, when I explain stuff, she's like, I can see where it gets lost in that, again, and it's crazy. Actually,
Well, at least you can see it. They should do
yeah,
something.
hopefully some of this stuff changes or it gets better, because
It's frustrating on both ends, because as a customer, you may want that stuff, and as a distributor, you're saying, I don't know, I don't have it, I don't see it. So
Yeah.
now right away, two people aren't going to be happy,
right.
So yeah,
Or it's like, well, give me a couple minutes, and then it's like you have to dig around, or it's kind of like our catalog, our e-catalog.
oh yeah,
It uploads, instead of like uploading all at once and overloading the thing. It does it in divisions or areas.
yeah.
So we've actually had guys say, "What's this?" And they say, "Well, where do you get that on the?" And I'll go look, and it's not there yet.
Yeah.
And then of course I get to upload, and then it's there. But again, it's
Kind
of frustrating.
There's still people that are fighting the digital age, and I mean we're all part of it, and we use it every day. And I'm one that fights it. I still do.
Yeah.
No, mail it to me, damn it. I'll mail it back to you.
Yeah.
I want to write it out. But on the other hand, if they're going to push you into the digital age and cram it down your throat, well, damn it, you better make it work.
Yeah.
I just went through it with Social Security, with the Social Security Department. The website is telling me, if you have trouble, call our number, and we have a tech line. You call it, no one answers it, And if you do get someone on the phone, they tell you, or you go to the office even, they say, oh, you just go to our website and use the web form. It's so easy. Like, no, that's why I'm here, because that didn't work. I couldn't get able to get a phone, so here I am in front of you. Help me. Oh, well, if you just go on the web, like, no, ain't happening. You go on the web. You bring it up. See how much luck you have. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, now you see what I mean. So, yeah, if you're going to use it, make it work. It's got to be right.
Said adds increased torque.
An easy beer opening.
What do you find, the rock oil thing?
No, Lee was typing in. It says adds increased torque and easy beer opening. Oh, he's talking about like those speed wrench. That's what I know. He's talking
Lee,
about. Now.
Are you still? Why don't you come on screen with us? Damn it!
Actually, the funny part is, we did a beer, a bottle opener, and it looks just like, I know the wrenches he's talking about now.
Well, that's not that 10 millimeter one that you sent me.
Yes.
While ago. Okay.
But you lost that one.
Yeah, I got mine.
Yeah, I don't know what I did with mine. I use it to pop the trim
wrench.
off the toolboxes.
Oh yeah.
It works great popping the trim off.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember something about that. I remember, and actually, I think, that's like today. We have a regional meeting coming up, our district meeting coming up, and he sends out all the information, but there's no date.
Oh.
So I call my district rep and say, "Hey, what's the date?" He goes, "It's in the email." And I said, "No, it's not." So I send it back. And however, their format, being top secret and international spy stuff, and when it's converted over to regular, it takes out dates. It takes out, so if you don't proofread it, if you don't read it to add it in, so he's like, "Oh, I'll have to resend it out tomorrow." It's like, dude, why? Again, if you want to make this, we use email, then why you have to have two different systems and they're not compatible, or I don't know. It's all crazy.
Right.
Lee commented again.
Oh yeah, something about his wife. Emergency vet. What happened? Poor puppy. Yeah. We got a stray cat running around the neighborhood, and Molly saw it the other day, and she's like, catch the cat, I'll take it home. I'm like, "Yeah. Take the cat for a ride."
Now.
Yeah.
My daughter's the same way. It's why we have 1, 2, 3. It's why we have 4 dogs.
Yeah.
She keeps bringing them. The last one, I mean, he's kind of a pain in the ass, but I love him at the same time. But he's a husky German Shepherd mix,
Oh,
and
nice.
he does some of the stupidest stuff. But he's smart because you can tell him stuff, and he knows. But then he does stupid stuff like he'll follow me down the hallway, and when I turn to come back, he'll start to go back down the hallway, but he's looking back, and he'll smack right into the wall or right his head. And I'm like, oh, God, you idiot. And he's still a puppy, but it was one of her sorority sisters got it, and then I guess got an apartment, and then found out she couldn't have the dog, and she was going to have to take it to the county animal shelter. And my daughter, she comes home and she goes, Dad, can I bring home? And I'm like, are you serious? Another? And I'm like, go, let me see. Go ahead. And he's not a bad dog, don't get me wrong, but he's a knucklehead. And he gets up on the couch with me, and usually right when I'm frustrated with him, he'll get up right on the couch with me, and he'll put his head right on my lap, on my thigh, and then he'll put his paw right up on me and just kind of give me those puppy dog eyes. I'm like,
Yep.
Man, you're milking this.
I've been cleaning out, and I found a tool. Do you guys know what this is?
Wait a minute.
It has a disc, and then it has another, and
That looks
Has a ball.
fairly familiar.
Isn't that some type of dimple dye?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
yeah,
Like a different
you know, it's to fix GM trunk lids.
Oh,
Where the key goes in when they used to break in, or doors, the old
Oh,
the door.
you would
when they
resize
pop
it?
it.
Yeah, it would make them, because when they put the screwdriver and twist it, they would
Oh, wow.
It would oval it out or pop it
yeah,
out.
they would round out the hole, and then you would take and put the
That's cool. Who made that?
I think it was Schlag or
Yeah.
Shelley or whatever, but this is back. I mean, I used this back in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, redoing. You know, you get a car that was broken into, and you reshape the door to put the lock in.
That's cool.
I'm gonna have to look at the trunk of the Chevelle. I might have to borrow that from you.
Yeah, they. So it's funny because cleaning out stuff and it's like you find stuff that you used to use and you never even use, or you don't even, like I said, hate to throw. My big thing right now in cleaning up is finding all of the old Christmas cookie
Got
things.
a bunch of those.
And the stuff that I have in here, you know.
And I'm sure, just like you can pick that stuff out and you could tell exactly what it was from, like what car or what device, because I can do the same thing.
Here's a brake spring for rabbits on the rear brakes.
You got to save that, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you know. And then you had the magnet slides that went on locks. I mean, on cabinets.
Yeah, cabinets. Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you never know when you want to put a cabinet on. I don't know, dude.
Right. You know, it's funny. I was just watching you with the tool drawer, with the drawer open on the toolbox. It reminded me, working at this guy's house, I brought a giant tool bag full of stuff and my socket set, and still didn't have stuff that I needed. As I'm working on a distributor, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to bring my little Matco screwdriver with a magnet on it. Damn it. And like, cause his screwdrivers were, not great, but so like I had to keep going into his toolbox and open the wrench drawer. And it's just one long drawer of wrenches, just laid. Yeah, Hurst T-handle, my favorite.
There you go.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Hold that in your hand hold that in your hand when you whack somebody, Isaac. That's how we do it. That's better than a roll of quarters.
Well, I tell you, man.
Pure style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the shit right there.
Well, as you were saying it, I was like, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
I was like, I could have used that a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, we're live. I don't know what you're talking about.
No. I read about it in the book.
I saw it in the movie.
I read about it in a Hardy Boys book. That's what it was.
Hypothetically,
So,
it worked.
so anyway, I had the heartbreak of going through this guy's toolbox, just like a drawer of wrenches, and you're picking through and like, like what the hell wrench is this? And and they actually had, among all the junk, there was like a snap-on half-inch long wrench. Like, wow, where'd you get this? Where'd that come from? But not the one I needed.
It's probably like, well, that's the one time I took it to the shop and I found that in the car,
Right. So what was funny, I tell you something, it's not funny, but I got, I think, a real taste up front and close of the immigrant situation in this country now. We're at the shop yesterday, and I was working tow truck was right at the sidewalk level. So I was at the end of the shop floor there, whatever you want to call it. And this guy comes walking up, and he looked kind of Spanish, Mexican-y, hard to pin what he was, but man, was he ugly. He was ugly. He had a long oval face that was all pockmarked kind of, and he had this look like just kind of scratchy looking hair. He had a button-down shirt open and this big Buddha belly hanging out. He was wearing shorts and a pair of flip-flops, and me and the shop manager Ronnie, who's from Canarsie, Brooklyn, he's the real deal. We were standing there just talking, and the guy kind of walks up to us, and he was trying to say something. So Ryan's like, "What? What are you trying to say?" Like, speak to me. What do you want to say? And the guy was like, he realized it was some form of Spanish. So he yells into the shop, "Roger!" He calls Roger, because Roger is the interpreter for everybody in Spanish. Come here, see what this guy wants. The guy goes over to Roger, and Roger talks a minute and goes in the shop. The guy kind of followed him. Yeah, for money. I'm looking to take off for money or something, Roger comes back and hands him a bottle of water, and then the guy's walking away. But as he walks away, he stops and he's just like staring at us, like, really staring at us up and down, like studying us. And we both kind of backed up a little, and then he walked away and he sat down by the store next to us. And Ronnie says to me, he goes, "Man, that guy was ugly." And he said, "If he got any closer to me, I was going to belt him. I was going to knock him out just because he's so ugly." So shortly after that, I was done. I go and wash up. I'm driving home down the road that we're on in the shop. I get 2 towns away, and what do I see? I see the police. I see lights from a police cruiser on the side of the road. So I move into the next. We have a law here. You got to move a lane away from. Yeah. Meanwhile, coming back from North Carolina, I forget what state I was in. I went 75 miles an hour, with right past the cops. There was no law down there. But anyway, I see the lights. I move over, and as I get close, I see a female black policewoman facing the building, and there was lawn there. Who's sitting on the lawn? But our buddy. He's sitting there, legs crossed, and just looking at her like with this look on his face. So I got on the phone and I called Ronnie and said, "Hey, I just found our boy. He's in Freeport." I said, "Even Freeport doesn't want these people." So he's like, "No, good for him." Like, but I tell you, I don't know what happened to the guy, but to see him up close and personal, a guy you cannot communicate with, he has nothing. And I said, these are going to be the guys that are going to be sleeping in sheds and garages in the winter. Like, they're not going to do too well in our winter. If we have a real winter, guy ain't going to be too happy. So, yeah, that was kind of
Well, and a good portion of them are coming up through or from Central America. They're not even
Right.
Mexican. They're Guatemalan, Honduran,
I had a feeling he was
Venezuelan.
something other than just by the way he looked and sounded. Yeah.
Usually, not in all cases, but usually the Guatemalans and Hondurans are kind of short, kind of small,
He was tall, right?
because they're it has to do with whatever tribe was native to that area. They tend to be overall a higher percentage of them are pretty short, small people.
Right.
But
Overall, are they all ugly? Because this guy was ugly.
well,
I mean, ugly.
if he was Honduran and Guatemalan or Salvadoran, you're asking a Mexican, so I would say yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, I usually when you see somebody like that, pockmarked like that, and just real rough looking. Now, the shape of his face, to me, it sounds like he's from Central America.
Yeah, it was definitely
But,
an oval shape. A lot of the Mexican guys I've seen had a very rounded face. This guy was
Yeah.
definitely very oval.
Yeah, but yeah, but with the other features, the pockmark and everything, it's hard to say, but chances are there's either a lot of alcoholism, which you mentioned his belly, and or drug use where they're just their bodies are beat down,
Yeah.
you know. And usually those aren't the guys. So when you see migrant workers come up, the ones that are serious about they try to get into this country because they want to work, there's a different attitude mentality.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if it's Mexican or whatnot. As far as the ones that are shisty or they're up to no good, and the ones that are they're just here trying to make a buck, and they're very very work oriented, very hard working, high work ethics, very the ingenuity. Like when you see some of these videos of these guys that are picking lettuce groves or fruit groves or whatever, and they're out there and they've got their buckets, but they've got them the way they've got them tied and cinched up to them, and they're just zipping along. Yeah. And it's like, wow, I wouldn't even think of that. Again, those are the ones, whether they're here on a visa or whether they've snuck in. And again, I'm not advocating sneaking in, but there are ones that come across that they're hard workers. They come to work. But you've got the other ones that they're very shady. In fact, one of the things I heard, and I don't remember if it was New York or if it was Chicago, but these people, they stuck them in hotels, and they were getting kicked out of the hotel because they were doing nothing but getting drunk.
Oh yeah.
And they found children, like preteen, 10, 11 years old, walking around naked, like exploring each other with, stuff that even in those countries isn't okay either. So it's not like it's like, well, our laws are different. It's not okay in their countries either. And 10-year-olds drunk, they were finding. Like I said, I don't remember. It was a bunch of them that were sent up there, but I don't remember if it was Chicago or if it was New York. But again, it's unfortunate because those are the group of bad people. But at the same token, we have politicians that are saying, well, no, they're not bad. They're just trying to come across. Well, guess what? You just got what we deal with down here.
There was a picture in the Daily News today. The Roosevelt Hotel is one of the hotels in the city. They're housing them all in. And what they did now is they kicked out the single males to make room for families. So on whatever streets the hotel borders, along the whole bullshit, they're just all sleeping out on the sidewalk. I'm like, oh, that's good. Nice.
Well, we had excitement here today because Trump was in town
Oh,
for his arraignment. So it was pretty quiet downtown because everybody thought there would be a riot of some sort, or there was a pretty big presence. It was kind of weird today.
That's different.
Do you remember in the movie Forrest Gump when he's telling the story? He's like, I went to the White House again, and it's no big deal, and he's tired of going because he keeps getting opportunities to go to the White House. It's like halfway through the movie because when I got up and heard, well, they indicted Trump, I thought of that Forrest Gump scene and went, they indicted Trump again, because anymore that's all it is. It's like, seriously.
Yeah, no, it was like I said, kind of interesting today.
So I gotta tell you, I did that job last week. Well, this week on my PCV where I changed the valley pan. The job, I could have the whole thing done in one day, but my friend Jeremy came over and slowed me down, so I finished it off on Monday. I started Sunday, finished Monday. It was just parts replacement, but the hardest part of that job was getting the PCV valve into the grommet once the intake was on.
Really?
And I was saying to myself, why? Now I'm using the original valley pan. It's in the original location, and I know what it is. It's the intake manifold I'm using, that Edelbrock dual quad manifold. Everything moves forward a little, and the runners are a little fatter. And this PCV valve was actually, it was a Mr. Gasket, so it was cylindrical at the bottom, and then it tapered like a cone head. But the cylindrical part is much fatter than a regular PCV.
And then plus with the fatter runners,
Exactly.
I saw the picture; it was real close.
Yeah,
I mean,
real close. Yeah. So, and what I did is I put it. It had a 90-degree fitting on it that came out, at a 90. And just by accident, I put a hose on. I was trying to find the right size hose, and I felt that thing turn. I'm like, does that come out? It threaded in. So I unthreaded it, and then I actually took the PCV valve apart because it is, you can take it apart and clean it.
Right.
And I chased the threads. It's, it was a 1/4-inch pipe. So I said, well, good. Now the 90 wasn't working for me. I found a 45, an oil line thing that I had on my Harley years ago. And then I had a 45 coming out of the front throttle body because, I wanted to make it as neat as I could. So the 45, though, was a fitting that was kind of square, like square body with squared corners. You couldn't see it, but I put that on a grinder and I ground it until it was round.
With the other end of the.
I said, you know what? I'll grind it till I go through. I have another one. Then I'll know what I got to stop. But I literally ground that fitting till it was round, and then I ground the end of the PCV valve in the grommet. And when you put it in, it took me forever to get that thing in the grommet. And of course, now you don't see any of the marks at all. They all just disappeared. But I was like, what a pain in the ass that was,
Wow.
For an easy job.
I noticed when that one picture you had, I was like, man, that's pretty tight down there.
Yeah.
Because it looked like, I don't know if it's still touching, but it's close. I mean, it looked really.
It's not touching, but it is close. Let's see if I can. I just took those pictures off. The beginning of the month, I always take all the pictures off my. The pictures for the month, I take off the phone onto my computer as a backup, and then I back up the phone. Where the hell is it? There's the valve. Is that it? Yeah, let's see here. We can share this. Share screen. Okay. So, yeah, here's the valve hiding down here now.
Yeah.
It looks like it's touching the manifold, but it isn't. And this piece right here is the
45.
Right, and then I put the other 45 up here. Badoop, 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 badoop. And that's
that's I was looking at
that's
that.
it's like well, this is the bung I had the guy weld in for me, by the way. That was
Yeah.
it's because this intake is different, but and the grommet when I punched the hole in it, it had a 1/2 inch hole. I needed a 3/4 inch hole, so I was like, okay. So how am I going to make a 3/4 inch hole out of a 1/2 inch hole? That's a trick. You can't drill it because it's rubber. It was fresh rubber. So I took my my gasket making set.
Oh yeah.
And I took the 3/4 inch punch and I lined it up straight, but it ended up doing it offset a little bit. And I thought, that sucks. It ended up being good that it was offset, so I was able to move the valve even further away from the runner. If it was dead center, it would have been closer. So
yeah,
it just goes to show. And I tell this to guys all the time. It's like, this job was a really simple job. I mean, I wouldn't think twice about it. And
be careful because Chris could be listening, and I don't want to hear Chris this weekend tell you, "Oh, stock is the way to go, Ray."
I was going stock. Well, I was going stock pan, not stock valve. But all in all, and it was funny because I sent the pictures that I sent to you. I sent to other guys. With the motor open, I was really happy to see it. The cam was wearing really good. But I mean, you got to see what the replies I got back. Like, oh my God, is that your engine? Oh shit, what are you doing? Oh, is something wrong? It's like, I was like, no, I'm just just doing this quick job, and that's it's really just a quickie.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like horrified by that, which I find amazing. But the thing that's really amazing is when you get to the simplest part of just putting the valve in the grommet, that causes the most problems in the job.
It turns into a 3-day job.
It's like, opening the door to get into the shop is like, takes you 3 hours, But once you get in, it's like the stupidest thing. Causes all the trouble.
I was waiting for you to tell me that you get it all done and you go to push in the PCV valve, and it pushes the grommet through the pan and falls down into the valve. It falls down. You got to take it all back apart to get the rubber out. You know what I'm saying?
You're a nice guy, but you really do have a nasty streak.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be my luck.
Actually, I think I would, if that did happen, if that was to happen, I think I would have been able to go in with a good pair of needle nose and pull it through. I would have given birth to that thing.
Yeah. Because I can only, like I said, that right there are those flashbacks of simplest thing, and you get some of those grommets. It's like I can't remember what I was doing. I don't know if it was going through a firewall, with some wires, and the problem of it was like I had to add one more wire into the ground. Of course, now it's too big. Of course, it would drag across, and then it would pull the grommet out of the like. So then you say, okay, well, I'll use a little silicone or WD-40. Then you spray everything down, and you're like,
that's on your fingers, right?
It's all over the place. And next thing you know, you got, it's all in your mouth. It's all, it's like the anti-seize thing, next thing you know, it's all over the place.
That's funny.
And, you're pissed off. And then next thing you know, then you had to find some kind of degreaser or rubbing alcohol, then you're cleaning everything up, and you're like, because you just had to add the one extra wire. I think that's when I was on the tool truck when I had no running lights, and somewhere in the harness somewhere there was a problem, and I had to bypass, and so I figured, I'll just make it look clean, run it right through with that, and man, it was just what a mess. And of course, being all, trying to get, again, being flexible enough to get underneath the dash and roll around, and By that time, you're like, it's going to be Christmas lights. I'm just want to
Yeah.
crack the window down, run it out the side of the truck and down, and that's it, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
So,
Seen this banner one time that I want to get for the shop, and I said, we do this not because it is easy, but because we thought it was going to be easy.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. So, Justin, I mean, you must get, I'm sure you're not immune to this either. I mean, this is a universal thing, right? I mean, the stupidest thing will ruin your day and bite your ass.
All the time.
And the big stuff just goes, like it should.
There's pretty much not a part that we touch that we don't have to modify in some sort of way.
Yeah.
Nothing bolts on, nothing bolt on fits.
Right. That's
Yeah.
like, it's like
That's how
this
it is.
job, this tow truck job I did. They, I guess the slave cylinder went bad, but so they bought the master and the slave with the hard line and then a piece of a braided line all together, and the slave cylinder had a like a big zip tie over it, and because it was pushed in and it's already filled, so you don't have to bleed anything. So they said, once you put it all back together, you press the clutch, it'll break that zip tie, and the little round part that's over the nub on the slave will act as kind of like a nylon bushing to smooth it on the clutch fork. So I said, okay, great idea. So of course I gotta climb up onto the engine of the truck. I had a big moving blanket up there so I could lay up there and unbolt the master, get underneath. The slave cylinder is held on with just like a bracket that slides over a piece of the bell housing. It doesn't bolt on. It's like a pressure thing. So okay, and then you snake it all out from the top, and then go to snake the new one in. Holy shit! The first way I put it down, I'm like, no, it can't work that way because the hard line is, I can't turn the master. So I bring it around the back of the hydro boost, and that was better. I had to do it 3 times to finally get it right. I said, okay, I get it all set up, put the slave back on, go down to the bottom, and the master, put the master on. I go down to put the slave on, and as I'm sliding it, it slides like halfway over the bracket, over the bell housing, and now the rod contacts the end of the fork, clutch fork. So you can move the fork a little bit, and it's the stubbiest little clutch fork I ever saw in my life. Car has a nice, 8-inch fork, not this truck. So it has a little bit of wiggle, but it wasn't enough to get the ball end under it. So I said, okay, I was with a car, I grab a bar, and you wedge the fork to depress the pressure plate a little. You couldn't move this thing.
Yeah.
So I got successively bigger bars. I'm at the point where I'm under the truck now with a bar, and I don't have enough room because I'm hitting the ground. I'm like, so I can't get leverage. And at one point, being on my back, I did get enough leverage to move it enough, but then
you can't slide the bar. You can't slide it in. You don't have enough hands.
My other hand was over here, and everything was over here. So I would have had to come over my head, and I'm like, you can't do this. How the hell do you do? I'm like, son of a bitch. I hate working on trucks. So I fought with that part of it for maybe an hour, better part of an hour. I'd come out from it, I'd just cool off, I'd drink some water, go back down. Finally, what I did is I swung myself around on the creeper, so I was looking from the front of the truck, looking back at it. So I saw the fingers of the bracket, and they got to go up over like a ramp, and that's what they click onto. So I'm just using the side of a ball peen hammer to nudge it. So I said, okay. I put a screwdriver under one of the fingers and lifted it, and it went boom, right over the ramp. I'm like, oh, that one's in. So I tried the other one, and it was going, but the fork was the stud still was hitting the fork. I don't know how, but after like 2 or 3 tries, I got it to go like that. And I was like, really? I'm looking around like, is it really in, or did I break it? Like I figured I broke the rod. I'm like, no, it's in. Yay. It's like, what a pain.
Did you have did it have any problems? Did you have to bleed it, or was it?
No.
Oh, really?
Well, it didn't end there, because what happened is when I took this stuff out of the truck, I had to take the old rod out of the slave cylinder, the rod that goes onto the clutch pedal. And it doesn't actually go onto the clutch pedal. The clutch pedal has a shaft that goes across. It actually goes to the firewall on between the brake and the gas pedal. So it kind of goes over. And that rod, I had to take that rod off because there was a switch on it that actually slid. And I guess that's like the start switch. You got it when you press the clutch and it'll.
Yeah, like a neutral safety switch.
Right. So to get that rod out of that master, man, it was in there because it's got a ball end and it kind of clicks in place.
Yeah.
And you don't have any leverage to do anything. You put something in the hole and you're pulling. I had a master cylinder in the vise. It's a plastic master cylinder, but I got it in the vise. And finally, I took a punch. I put it in the hole of the rod and I was tapping it and I got it out. So now I notice that rod, the round end of it, the clevis end, was all galled up. It was worn down. I'm like, ooh. And they did have the stud that the rod went over. Somebody had drilled a little hole for a cotter pin. It's not supposed to be that way, but it was. The new rod had a black clip inside that hole. So you just slide it over the stud, it would click in, and you don't need any cotter pin. I was like, excellent. But the problem was the new stud was shorter than the old stud. The old stud is adjustable, and of course it was adjusted to a longer position than the new stud. And the old stud was actually bent a little bit. So I was like, all right, I'm going with the new stud here. New parts, new stud, new rod. Put the switch on, put the rod on, lay it up under the truck, go to put the rod on the clevis, and I could see it was offset. Like it didn't want to, like when I put it on the clevis, on the stud, it kind of fell back the other way. I'm like, that's why the other rod is bent a little. It's bent to contour to that shape. And of course, I used that new clip, and I moved the clutch pedal, and the rod fell off. I'm like, all right, I got to put the old rod back in. I don't have a choice. So now get it out of now this one's stuck in the get it out. Took the old rod, put it in, and put a half a cotter pin in it. And then I told Mike and Shaw, I said, listen, this is what I did. I had to use the old rod. Well, first of all, when I got the new rod in, I pressed the clutch. It broke the strap. I had a clutch. Pushed the clutch down, turned the key, lights came on, truck wouldn't start. Nothing. No, like that switch. I said, I bet you that rod isn't long enough. It's not tripping the switch because it slides on the rod.
Yeah.
So when I switched it to the old rod, pushed the clutch and the truck started. So I told him, you got a mismatch of parts here. The old shit is glued up. I don't know how long it's going to last you, but the truck is running now. So
I wonder if it was originally not a manual, and that's why it's got that angle through the firewall.
I don't know. He bought the truck. It was used. It was a demo. He got it at one of those truck shows where they have all the the big vehicles. So he bought it as a demo, and because they had dolled this one up. They threw everything at it, to make it look like pretty cool. So I don't know. Maybe they can. I don't know. But just another good reason why I say. I told Ronnie, the shop manager, you know what? I'm not a freaking truck mechanic. How many times I got to tell you that? He goes, yeah, but you're getting close. I was like, yeah.
You'll get there one day.
Yeah, you're like, gee, thanks.
Mike came over to the house the other day and I was working on my car, and I said, this is what I want to work on. I want to work on old stuff. I want to work on hot rods. I want to work on stuff I know. I want to work on cars. This is, that's what I want to do.
It's funny. I went into one of my shops today and I was like, hey, you don't have any classics in here? Because that's the one that had that
Oh,
That Buick, that Riviera. I mean that.
no, the Grand Prix.
No, not the Grand Prix. Was that silver? Was that what was that car? The silver thing.
I showed my friend Kevin that Grand Prix, and he lit up. He's like, if you don't take it, I will. And I said, listen, I would take it in a second. I said, but he ain't letting it go.
Yeah, what was that silver car I sent you a picture on? Shit, I don't know if I saved the picture. I was trying to clean out my phone. It was a Oldsmobile. No. God, because it had that funny nose on it.
Also Buick.
Well, whatever. They've had a couple classic, a couple older cars in there. They had like going along, and I said, "Oh, no." He goes, "Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of these people are coming in here, and they want to put superchargers on stuff, and they want to do this, and I don't have time for." I was like, "Well, that's where the money is right now. These people have this disposable income. I don't know where they're getting that disposable income, but
right. Yeah,
a lot of people just don't realize just because it says it's a factory. I mean, an easy replacement or a bolt-on. I've never met anything with a regular bolt-on.
No,
you had to modify everything.
Well, the thing is like you said, people see that or they see another car with it, and they don't realize what goes into it. And it's just somebody they're into cars, but they're not into cars.
Yeah.
They're not. And I mean, my brother has a Honda Civic, and one day he was saying, I really want to put a turbo in it. I can slap it in here and I can do this and I'm like, it's got to be tuned. I'm like, you can't, you're going to have to run a higher octane or a boost mix. And I was like, it's not something you can just bring over and we'll slap it on a weekend. I'm like,
right.
Technically, yeah, we can. And I said, you drive it home, and later in the week, as soon as you can, you got to get it in to get it tuned. Yeah. And I said, the problem is I said, I know how you drive. You think turbo, and you're going to go tear it out of here, and you're going to blow that engine off. I said, you're going to be pinging to death. You're going to, and I said, it's one of those, you got to figure your car's going to be down for a week or two. I said, you got to put it on, but the bigger thing is it's got to be tuned.
Right. Yeah, very true.
I don't know what to do with that picture. I can't remember what kind of car that was. Man, it really bugs me. You can't remember shit.
Yeah, I know. I know.
That's terrible.
I know. It is. It certainly is.
So, but going back before we go here, Ray, because they never offered that 3.2s on a Chevrolet, right? Except other than the Vet.
Yeah, just a Corvette got the tri-power.
Yeah, because like I said, that Chevelle that I sent you a picture of just looks so funny having a tri-power underneath there.
Yeah, guys would use the Corvette tri-power as long as you can. It was a big block only, so you could have it on a big block. But there was a place called Hot Rod Carburation back in the 80s, and they came out with a aluminum tri-power manifold for a Chevy small block, and they modified the Rochester carburetors. And that's how you can tell people, like with Pontiac, don't have a real tri-power, because the center carburetor is the only one that has mixture screws and a choke. The outside two won't have a choke or mixture screws. The bases will be blocked off because they're just dump carburetors. So if you see outside ones that have those controls, yeah, they're not the real deal. My buddy Doug at the shop, Yeah, you
Yeah,
know.
buddy.
Yeah, those are the Hollies, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
My buddy Doug was just saying he knows a guy that's got he's trying to build a 61 or 62 Pontiac. He's looking for a motor. So my friend Kevin's got 3 of them, but he's not letting one go. And I told him, hey, listen, if he finds an early motor, I have a 1959 Tri-Power. I'd love to sell it because I'm never going to use it. And, you know, I have a 59 and a 65, but I would definitely love to sell that 59 Tri-Power.
Yeah. This was that Pontiac I was talking a
That's
couple
the
weeks
Grand
ago.
Prix, right?
The Grand Prix
Yeah.
Right.
with that funny nose on it. Or, you know, I think it's
No, I like that nose. That's a 71. I would scoop that car up in a minute.
It'd be perfect. to
that's
make
1 year only, right? Like that? Is that 1 year only
Well,
like
they,
that?
they changed the nose a little bit each year, but they stayed similar for a while. Is that a bucket seat car?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would.
That'd be a perfect car to make a Dolomite car.
That's probably like an
Pitmobile.
SJ or something.
But that's got a 4.
It should have a 400.
No, it's bigger. It's 428, 455.
Yeah,
455.
right.
And it has no emblems on it. I mean, it's
I don't know why they did that. That's, you know,
And you said that's early 70s, right? 72,
71.
71, yeah.
And obviously it's a Grand Prix. I mean, what do you need badges for?
Yeah.
but
Or maybe they repainted it and didn't put the badges on. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that.
it's low mileage. It's like only
I know.
60,000 or something. I mean,
And
it's
they actually made a small number of those with 4 speeds,
Mm.
really.
which would be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I like that car.
Yeah, I can't remember what the other that car's.
Actually, if I could have that 67 Firebird with the 4-speed or that 71 Grand Prix, I'd have a hard time choosing.
I think the Grand Prix have always been a good looking car.
Oh yeah,
Even when they went to the new
they got
newer-
bigger and fatter at
Well,
the
they-
end.
even the ones from the 90s, I
That's
thought
full
had some look to it when they went front wheel drive. If they'd have kept that thing, if they'd have built that thing like that, but with the rear wheel drive platform, kind of like what they did where they outsourced to Australia for the
Holden.
GTO and
Holden or whatever.
yeah, the G8. If they did that with the Grand Prix, shoot, if they turned around and called the remake GTO a Grand Prix, that would have sold, and they wouldn't have had your purist complaining.
Right, you would have the backlash.
Yeah, there wouldn't be no backlash because that would have actually, if they sold that thing as a Grand Prix, I think people would have jumped on it big time.
Yeah,
You know, if you're gonna do a GTO, you got to do it. You got to do it right. You can't throw a couple of badges on it. You can't throw.
Oh no, I mean they threw an LS in it with a T56. They threw some good hardware at it.
Oh yeah,
You know,
but in the looks department, it looked too much like a Grand
would be.
Prix or like a
Like a
BMW.
look like a Camry.
Yeah, like I said, if you gave it the right name, and same running gear and everything, it would have killed as a Grand Prix.
Yeah,
And this is what this right here is what has been showing up in a lot of my shops right here. And this is like,
Oval faces.
no.
Oh, Novas.
A Nova.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big bumper Novas.
Yeah. And this one here is a Riley. I mean, what is it called? This was
Like a Rally.
Nova Riley. Riley Sport.
Rally Sport. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was like, last week, I think I saw like 4 different ones in shop. I was like, where the hell are people finding this stuff,
Now,
dude?
the cool thing about Nova is the word Nova isn't a word; it's an acronym.
Right.
They just didn't use dots. It stood for the 4 cars in the GM line under the X-Body platform, which
Yep.
N was the Nova, the O was the Omega, V is the Ventura, and A was the Aster. Pontiac
Yep, I knew
Aster.
that.
Yeah. And when I found out, I was like, no shit. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it stands
A
for.
buddy of mine, he had the Ventura like that,
Right.
and a Pontiac Ventura, a 4-speed car, factory.
Yeah.
That was a fun car to drive.
My friend Dennis the Goatman had a 74 GTO the last year, which was based on that platform with a hatchback, and his was a 350 4-speed car.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what Carl had. I
They
can't
had a-
remember if it was a
They had a
hatchback or
camping
not.
accessory where you open the hatchback and you can bring a tent out
Yeah.
so you could sleep in the car and have a tent. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, man, that really pisses me off.
Well,
It drives me crazy.
you know what I say? I always say, it's better to be pissed off than to be pissed on.
I know. Tomorrow I get to go see my Tiger. It got painted last week. You remember my Tiger?
Oh yeah.
It was when I was in the body shop Friday. I said, "Hey, where's my Tiger? I mean, my lion." And there's a girl there that's a body. She's a body. She looks at, and she's a Spanish girl. She thinks I'm absolutely crazy. I mean, out there in left field. I said, "Hey, where's my lion?" And she's like, "Lion? What are you talking about?" And of course, very little English, but I was like, "Rah, the lion."
Nice.
And the other guy's laughing, and he goes, Mr. Brian, you had too much tequila. And I said, not yet. I said, I want to ride the lion around. And she's looking at me like, what the fuck is going on with this? And they said, oh, it's in the paint booth.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, awesome. I said, next week I need a picture of the new paint job.
I hope they did it at least in a real color. Not
Yeah, I
green.
don't know. Some dude probably has it sitting in his front yard.
Right.
I don't know.
Scare away
Oh,
immigrant.
well. All right, guys. It's
All
getting
right.
late.
Yep. Let's get
Yeah,
out
we
of here.
gotta-
Let me go take out the garbage. Feed the cat.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I can't. I guess I